And welcome to the spotlight on the one, the only, the Mr. Syna, man. Steady your nerve. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, brother. Hey, thanks for having us, man. I appreciate it. Eh?
Well, it's not the first time, mate. We've had you as a guest on the DayZ podcast when I was still doing that. But this is a first for just a one-to-one with you, my man.
Yeah, cool. Looking forward to it. That should be good.
As am I, mate. Yeah, I've known you for quite some time now. But even when you sent me through your bit of a brief on you, I was like, oh my God, there is a lot about this man I don't know. So we are going to look at getting into that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a story, I suppose, mate. Like most people so far as well, though. Sort of I think I said to you, like, it's funny how most of us are sort of I'd say tarred with the same cloth, or tarred with the same brush, eh?
It's part of why I wanted to start doing this because, we hear the stories of, all the really famous people and the big names and, the troubles that some of them have had in, just getting through life. And you sit there and you think, everyone has the same. And part of what I wanted to do is, start talking to people about, predominantly gamers and what brings us together as gamers, why we enjoy gaming. And, obviously I've done a few veterans as well, just exploring that weird idiosyncrasy of that you would think people who have been traumatized by war and violence and all the rest of it would shy away from it. But overwhelmingly, the majority of us find solace in playing those sorts of violent games and all the rest of it. And, it's not just soldiers and cops and that who've had that, people who grew up in rough neighborhoods, like the last guest I had on Facility. He's never served or anything like that. But did you listen to any of his one?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing, mate. And
holy
I think it's
that man's had a life, hasn't he?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people can relate to stuff as well, bits and pieces. Maybe not the whole thing, but just bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
You take them from it.
Yeah, there was a bit of banter in the comments throughout the week, and my good mate Archie Stormclad said, real men don't get therapy; they go on Boydie's podcast.
Mate, that's not a bad shout out either, as well. Though, at least if you're starting a conversation and people are talking,
yes,
mate,
that's one of the things I love about you because that's part of your branding, mate. You're wearing the shirt at the moment. You're Sin, steady your nerve. Tell me a bit about that, mate. What was the focus behind that, and how did you come up with it? And Cinnamon is there any other? And you just made what is it called? An acronym from that Syna, or is that why you chose the name Sin?
No, look, this will make you laugh, but I suppose I started out with something different. So I'd always toyed around wanting a brand or a label that sort of had a relevance or a level to it where people could actually not so much buy into it, but to.
Well, you couldn't go with sheep fucker, mate, because that's just a bit too.
I mean, it's a good claim to fame. I mean, we might fuck, mate, but you can't see that.
That's a Kiwi joke. For those of you who wondered what the hell, boy, you're going for the demonetization flag early, but
straight away, get that out of the way. No, it's I don't know, just I played a lot. Like I played a lot of sports, obviously, right? So I've been heavily into sports. So where I come from, you're either sporting or academic, and that was it. You could go
and being a New Zealander, sport is pretty much one sport.
Yeah.
Yes, they do play cricket, but I'm not allowed to talk to Syna about that. The Australian-New Zealand cricketing relationship is rather controversial, but there's really only one sport they play in New Zealand, and they punch so far above their weight, and that's rugby union.
Yeah, and everybody who's a kid in NZ, regardless of your sex, your age, always wants to be All Black, and that's just something that comes from the culture itself, I suppose.
What position did you play?
I used to be second five, but I used to so I only played rugby probably for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then I switched over to football or soccer. So I was playing soccer, and like I said, you go through school either being academic or you go through school representing the school, and once you're representing the school at something and you're reaching certain levels, then you're pretty much passed, more or less through, because you're representing the school itself. there's a great bit of pride over there with regards to what school you come from and where you go to and how you sort of roll up as well. So I took to rowing and I took to soccer. And rowing pretty much just
Did you go to a private school?
Yeah, I went to a boys
Yeah.
school. Went to a boys school, mate, called St. Bede. So unfortunately, because I have an old brother who went to a public school, he fucked it up. So I ended up having to go to a private school. Which, to be honest with you, probably was one of the best things I think they had anyway. Sort of a little bit of structure, I suppose, a little bit of direction to start with as well. So, and no distractions really, unless you find it distracting as well. It took to rowing really, really quickly. Really, in my first year of high school, I was in rowing, and that right up till the last year of school, I was in rowing pretty much, right up to national level and international level as well. So, that's where I've always been a person, and this will sound really corny, but I've always been a person who just wants the gear. Like I just want the t-shirt, or I just want the track pants, or I just want whatever it is that you're representing to own it and have it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's come from. I think that's where it's really the belonging, I suppose you could say. And the idea has always been to have shirts on the wall in a frame, mate. And if they're own shirts as well, that's something that means a bit more as well. So I think the brand came about really. I just started sort of mucking around on the Xbox. Had toyed with a couple of ideas, and come up with a different brand name, and was playing around. Like, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of stuff to it in regards to how you market and shit. So I was on Facebook marketing really, and I had like 185,000 impressions on this particular T-shirt brand that I put out. Couldn't work out why. And then found out that the name of the brand was Relic, and I wondered why all the impressions were coming from Sinaloa in Mexico. And it turned out to be that there's a famous Nacho Libre wrestler in Mexico called Relic. So then I had to obviously shit can that idea pretty quickly, because there's no way I'm going down that road anyway to see as well. So, but I'd always toyed with something, I suppose, for a while, and I actually had originally, when I started this up, it was actually Syna. So it was show not average originally to begin with, and then it's just sort of streamlined down to steady your nerve. Really, I think it's just a transition where anxiety and mental health can be a big thing for everybody, obviously, and I think as we get into the years a bit more, there's more talking about it, which is a good thing. So it was really just to start a conversation, I suppose, get people to feel like they can talk and feel like they can be a part of something as well, I suppose.
So we probably need to backtrack a bit now. Yeah, we've kind of jumped all over the place a bit. You talked a bit about your school and that, but what was the thing that started anxiety for you? You told me a little bit about it, but you said you were in a very serious accident of some sort.
Yeah, look, I was in an accident over here. There's a couple of times it actually started for me. So, and I can delve into it a little bit and let you know what it is. So, growing up over home is a little bit different to here. Obviously, New Zealand's got a great sort of culture to it from the outside, but on the inside, there's a little bit of a dark area as well. So, a lot of violence.
Well, anyone who's interested in that, a great movie to check out. And yes, it is dealing more with the native people of New Zealand, but check out the movie Once Were Warriors. And I had a Maori mate who was in the unit with me when that movie came out, and I said, "Is that what it's really like?" And he goes, "Yeah, boy. The violence culture in New Zealand is very, very serious, especially amongst the Maori. And Jake the Muss is not an uncommon personality type to run into. And the memes that came from that, that's why the Emperor cloned him, because my God, it is one of the most amazing movies you will ever see, even if you don't know Kiwi culture and Maoris in particular. It'll still blow your mind, because you can sort of resonate that. But I'll let you carry on.
No, you're right. Like, you can resonate with it as well, I think. And, like the parents sort of grew up around the pub scene. So the old lady was a bar lady, and a bottle store worker. So from, quite a young age is in the pub or in the bottle store doing stuff anyway. So you get to see grown men trying to, become grown men or gain a reputation. And there's no love lost there whatsoever. So that sort of was a bit of an eye-opener, and maybe realise, the world's not as innocent as what it should be. And I suppose that started, really, to be fair. That really, took the rose-coloured glasses off, mate, and made you realise, okay, you got to be careful what you do and careful how you go about things as well. So that was probably the first real introduction into, okay, it's not as easy as it's going to be. There's a lot of violence in pubs over there at the time. And, you know, there's a lot of Kiwis who probably say the same thing, that when first got over here in Australia, it took me a couple of years to go into a pub and not have a fight. So, and it wasn't, it's not a trying to prove yourself thing. It's just you don't know when it's coming and it's going to come. So, you know, there's a lot of people with chips on their shoulder, and there's a lot of people trying to be something they're not. And unfortunately, if you get that cross here, then, you know, you're a part of it. Realizing. You know, I had a bit of incidents back home. That sort of, I suppose, started the mental health side of things, because, you know, you start sort of wondering what's going on and why, or if you're the cause of it, and start second guessing everything as well. And I left simply because of it wasn't a safe place for me personally. You know, like I wasn't going anywhere apart from either inside or down a hole, basically. So the idea was to get out and try and start something new, and had a daughter with me as well, so she was only 3 or 4 at the time. So we just went, right, let's pack up and piss off. So we did. We come over here and try to set life up over here. So,
so no, then, yeah,
no, like I'm not with the mum of the kids anymore, but I've got a missus now. I got a partner now, Kimmy. Yeah, she's been with me for 4 or 5 years now. So we're pretty settled and pretty good. Takes a good woman to hold down a good man, I suppose you could say. You know, and to understand you as well. So I think anybody who wants to take the time to get to understand you, it's the key. So, but then I got into football over here, and in 2016 I was playing a game of footy and copped an elbow to the jaw and broke a tooth off into my gum. Went to A&E to get the gum stitched, and in between either them stitching me in the A&E or myself squirting the water in my mouth to rinse my mouth out, got a bug, got a flesh-eating bacteria, and was in a coma within half a day, and pretty much dead to the world. So that really, yeah, I think that's the real thing that really that changes, put it that way. That's the one thing where, and I don't know if many people understand it until it happens, but when you're told you're not going to wake up, and you're told you're going to, you know, someone.
Well, teeth are, yeah, if you're not keeping them 100% clean, they're actually quite, you know, even just getting bitten by someone can give you some pretty nasty infections. It's why most animal bites are bad. So, yeah, not just it could have been just from that. You might have had a good old meat pie before the game, mate, and just a bit of that left in your mouth. And if they didn't clean it out properly, so that puts you into a coma.
Yeah. So what it is they think it. There's been myself, and there's been another rugby player in Sydney who actually got this as well, and he got it from tackling a guy who's scoring a try and cut his leg. So it can come from hot water, obviously bacteria in the water. So I've got a thing called necrotizing.
What was the condition?
Yeah, necrotizing fasciitis. So
yep. I don't know what it is, but I've heard the term before.
Yeah, so it's
but necrotizing is basically necrotic is always bad.
Yep. Yeah. So I'd gone from that happened on a Tuesday night, a Monday night, sorry, a Tuesday night, and then a Wednesday morning woke up, was feeling like shit, couldn't really sort of comprehend what was going on. My flatmate come home. I said, look, can you take us up to the hospital? And as soon as I walked in, they took me through straight away and induced us straight away. Spent nearly 4 weeks in a coma and woke up not knowing what the fuck was going on. But I went to sleep not thinking I was going to wake up. So it's got a bit of a bell ringer wake up, I suppose, as well. The struggle you've got there straight away, when they tell you you're not going to wake up, is that there's only 2 modes you got, right? There's only fight or flight. And I was fucking off. Like I was trying to get off the table, trying to run out, trying to get out the fucking door, and I had security holding me down. And then it's kind of weird because people laugh a bit, I suppose, but it just had a calm, had a real fucking calm come over us. And just more or less said to them, look, do what you got to do. Like, man, I can't control it. Like, it's not like I can go home and come back tomorrow. So, And it just become really, really calm and really, really, yeah, really, really. I don't know. It's a very surreal feeling, but it was a very, very peaceful feeling. And I remember when I woke up, I was feeling the same way. I was really, really peaceful, like really in a world of shit, obviously. But I was just really, really. Everything was clear. Everything was just really calm. Um,
So
obviously, a little bit.
your brain was working okay
Brain was
in
working.
thinking, but
Yeah.
you said to me that there was quite a lot of physical changes for you after that.
Yeah, so I lost half a jaw. So half my jaw's been busted out. So I've got obviously titanium plates in my jaw. Had 14 surgeries to divide the neck, so all the neck's all cut away. Had an infection and went to the heart, so they had to crack the chest and put a sternal splint and stuff in. And so,
Brendan
yeah,
in chat there.
he did. And you know, that's funny what Brendo says because I'm probably the only one that notices, but I did wake up with a different voice as well. So, and that was one of the things that really sort of got me going, like, shit, you know, things have really, really changed. So the physical side of it, even though people can say to you, look, you know, yeah, it doesn't look so bad, you still see it. You still got to deal with it anyway. And then there was obviously the rebuilding side. So once I was sort of awake, couldn't talk, obviously you couldn't eat, you know, you're on a pile of medication and shit as well. And I think it was just the fact of, okay, well, I've never been a person with an injury to quit. I've always been a person who's gone, how long is it going to take? How long do I have to wait so I can get back in? So,
Can you just do one thing quickly for me? Can you just check down the bottom of the screen where it's got the mute button? There's a little drop arrow next to it. Can you just make sure you've got the right mic selected? Your mic's a little bit funny.
a little bit funny. Let's try that.
Yeah, that seems to sound better.
Yeah. Got two different mics there, so I might have been picking up the webcam. Yeah, so look, you know, it took a fair bit. Like I just started a frigging job. So I'd started a job, only been at the job 2 days. And then, you know, I was away literally for 7 weeks and I scrambled to get back to work to try and get some normality, which was the worst thing I could have done. So end up having 2 years off and probably could have had the rest of my life off really. Fair. Not geared that way. And that's where I started mucking around on the console and started, you know, trying different things and pretty much where the brand sort of developed a bit more, I suppose, because I had time on my hands to do something. So, sort of looked at what was going on with us and you know, the rehab I was having to do and all the physical stuff to do as well. And then realized, like, you know, you can do the physical stuff, but you got to do the mental stuff as well. So that's where it really started at home a bit more as well. I think, you know, I'm probably bouncing over the place, but through streaming, mate, that's where I've managed to gain a bit more confidence talking to people. Never used to have a webcam, obviously. You know, but now it's a case of, you know, this is what I am. Can't change it. Who I am. So, you know, you look how you look, you talk how you talk, and you just got to fucking adapt and get into it.
So you said your voice changed quite significantly.
Yeah, it did. It did. I was lucky I didn't have to have a tracheotomy, obviously. So the voice box is still the same. All the scars come down underneath the neck. So they literally cut across the voice box. And to me, it changed. Sounds probably really corny, but it sounds like there's a lot more pain in it or a bit more depth in it, whereas before it wasn't that way. So,
how old was your daughter during all of this?
she was 18, so she was one who had to sign.
She was old enough. Wouldn't have been like, it still would have been scary for her, but she would have been able to handle the things like Dad looks a bit different. Dad sounds very different.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
that's one good thing.
Yeah,
every cloud has a
she's
silver
18.
line.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. So she's 18, and the youngest one was 15 at the time. Well, 14 at the time. Sorry. So she was probably the one that was. It's funny because when I woke up, originally the two of them were there, and then the first words out of my mouth were, "Look, I shouldn't be here. I've taken someone else's time." And I can't remember saying it, but my daughter's the one who kept saying to me, like, keep telling me, you know, you took someone else's time. And it's generally what I thought. I thought, you know, I was told I wasn't going to wake up. you have some wicked fucking dreams in a coma, I can tell you now.
Yeah.
And oh yeah. At one point, I was back in Christchurch, mate, on the Port Hills at a fucking barbecue, and I got tackled by some fella. You know, there was just some very strange things that happened when you're out to it technically. So, and you can hear things too. So, you know, a lot of people may not understand that, but I could hear a lot of the workers in the hospital at night and stuff as well. Which at first I didn't know if it was not, you know, the dream or whatever. When you get talking to them, I sort of clarify a few things. You realise, yeah, okay. So, but yeah, it's that changed me. That changed me massively. Man. Like it really did. If anything, I sort of live by a thing of like I've paid my pound of flesh for all the shit that I've done, okay? And then I've literally paid my pound of flesh for everything. The mindset was different. The body was different. If anything, it slowed me down a little bit, so I can actually take my time to do things. And then, you know, I started seeing people wearing a lot of, you know, like other gear and stuff, and I thought, look, I'm paying money for putting, you know, labels on my body. Why can't I put my own label on my body? Why can't I, you know, bring something out that maybe might inject something into someone else and help them through some shit that they might go through? And that was sort of a focus.
So it's sort of like a charity sort of thing for you.
Yeah, look, I'm not there to make money, mate. Like I'm not there to make money. Like you know, if we cover expenses, it's more, you know, to me, it's more for. I was always taught, you know, if you look the part, feel the part, you play the part. And you know, if there's a way for people to feel like they are part of something that they can be themselves, not have to worry about, you know, the nervousness, the anxiety, not have to worry about being judged as well. They can just be who they are. That's the key.
So what about back in New Zealand? You sort of skimmed over it a bit, but it sounds like you were a bit of a rat bag back there.
Yeah, look, yeah, look, and I'll go there. I'll let you know. So everything over home's a bit of a reputation, right? Everything.
Is this where you got all the tattoos you've got?
I got some back home. I got tattoos, obviously, here as well. Yeah, I got the face tat when I came out of hospital. More about, you know, being there. People go, you know, YOLO, you only live once. I go, well, no, some of us get twice. You know, get
is that what it says on your cheek, YOLO?
No, it's just an actual cross, mate. So for the cross with the two dots are the daughters on my shoulders. So I hold them on the shoulders of my wife. Can't repay them for what I did. Just got to hold them up. But yeah, look, we used to get in a lot of trouble back home, but not bad trouble. Like there's good trouble and then there's bad trouble. You know? Like we weren't out to hurt anybody. We just used to be dickheads, I suppose, as well. But once you get into the pubs over home, you sort of realise that, you know, and I don't know if it was like that here or not, but when I grew up, there was two types of bars. It was a lounge bar and there's a public bar. And the public bar, women weren't allowed in the public bar.
No.
Only in the lounge bar. And that was for good reason. That wasn't just trying to separate them. That was to keep them away from what was going on in the public bar. Yeah, I've seen situations in the public bar where the guys are just standing there waiting for shit to go on. And it seems like a fairy tale at the time. Like the shit you see and the shit you sort of watch and get involved in, you think, oh yeah, you know, I've seen it on the movies or whatever. But when it's actually happening, it does bear impact. Like it does actually get you after a while. And I said it to you, like I think as a young fella, you're looking for your war.
Yeah.
You know. And as an old fella, mate, you're looking for your peace. Okay? And it's trying to get that balance or that switch around where, you know, you don't have to go around belting people. No, you don't have to go around causing drama. You know, people are generally misunderstood, but there are some people out there that are. Some people that have to cause drama because that's what they think. Yeah, look, I got in a little bit of trouble back home. Unfortunately had a couple of guys assault my ex-partner, ex-wife, out in the street one night. And that caused a big issue, obviously, for courts and shit like that as well. Being a dickhead that I was, I couldn't rest, and the wrong thing and went after him, and that, you know, warranted me getting locked up. simply because I was being a fucking dickhead, really, instead of letting look across the side and deal with. And, it was probably the first awakening where I rang my old lady from the lockup, and she hung up on me. Like, oh, can you help me out? And she's like, so it was like, okay,
Wow.
all right. I guess I'm gonna have to sort this out myself. And I think I was 17 at the time when it happened, so it was sort of like, oh, okay, all right, fair enough. I don't know if that's a school of hard love or not, but that's just who they were. My parents are Scottish, mate. They come from not the whole family Scottish, so I'm the only Kiwi in the family. So they've got their older style morals, I suppose, and older style ways. And we were definitely one of the kids that used to get a smack or a belt, and everybody was an auntie and uncle, and you respected everybody as well. So, and I think that's the culture that was bred into us, from a really, really early age as well. So that sort of respect that you expect when you go out to a pub at a skin fish, you expect that again as well from people that you don't know. And people that you don't know don't want to give it to you. So that's when chip gets on the shoulder, and next thing you know, there's obviously a few things going on. So, a lot of people, I tell them this is, and she's been in New Zealand a few times, and she's like, oh, I love the country, it's fucking beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, look, I get that, but every country has a little bit of a black hole, a bit of a dark side.
Yeah.
And some of us see it firsthand, some of us don't. So if you've got great views on the country, that's great. Tell you otherwise if you weren't there. We were just kids, mate, that were lost us. No direction or no real desire to do the right thing, I suppose, as well.
Well,
we don't have...
you're only a few years younger than me, so
yeah.
You probably had that boomer generation parents where it was kick you out of the house when the sun come up and told you to come home when the lights went on, and when the street lights came on, and here's 20 cents for a phone call if you were lucky. Maybe $1 or something to go get some lollies or something like that, but that was pretty much just get out from under our feet and leave us alone for the day, and kids were just out doing kid shit.
Yeah, mate, and for me it was drive me down to the pub, will you? Pick me up from the pub. Like 10, 12 years of age, driving the car down, picking them up. It was nothing uncommon. Like every kid was doing it. Sort of a little bit of a freer time, I suppose, it seemed back then, but probably just the same, really, I suppose, was the reason. Yeah, we were never home. We were never meant to be home.
So your parents were probably pretty disappointed in you when you got locked up?
Yeah, look, the old man and the old lady, unfortunately, alcoholics, brother. So they didn't really.
My dad, he taught me everything I needed to know about how not to be a father. So I can definitely empathize with you there. My mother wasn't so much a drinker, but she was pretty much the stereotypical boomer. I remember once she said to me, I joined a ski club, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, she lives in Western Australia. And I was like, skiing in Western Australia. And she says, yeah, spend kids' inheritance. And I'm like, you fucking arrogant twat. I don't have my grandmother, different story. Love her. Her amazing woman, born in 1900. But my actual parents, I did not cry when either of them died. My mother just died at the end of last year, and all I really felt was anger over how bad of a grandmother she was to my son. She robbed him of that sort of relationship that I had with my nana, just by being such a selfish bitch that she was. But you can let your parents drive you down a similar sort of path to them, or some of us look at them and go, no, there's no way on earth I want to be like that. And that was my motivation for giving up drinking.
Mate, that was my motivation pretty much for, like, I had a brother that's 10.5 years older. So obviously growing up with a brother that's 10 years older, he's a decade difference. So we have the same last name, but we don't have anything in common, really. And that's not his fault either. That's just,
how it is.
Yeah, it is, and so obviously he took off to Aussie pretty early when I was 13, and unfortunately I fell in with some of his mates who weren't the best as well. So, and with the trouble he caused, generally it ended up on my shoulders to have to deal with it. So, I think like you, mate, I just lost the old lady this year. and you know, I hadn't spoken to her in 15 years, so I actually thought she was really gone. So,
dude, so similar to me. I
Yeah.
hadn't spoken to my mum since my son was about 6 or 5, maybe. Because and I didn't really bother me. It was kind of like, yeah, you've made the decision to be the way you are. I'm focused on my wife, my son, and my dogs.
Yeah, I agree. You know, you can pick your friends, but you can't choose your family. Sometimes.
Yes.
So, and it doesn't take blood to be family. That's something I've
like Patty just said, break those bad cycles that came before you. They aren't meant to be carried forward. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's a black
sadly, not everyone can though. Can they, Sin?
No, and I think you know, growing up, I felt like I was always a different one. And I don't mean that in the, you know, shit on them. I felt like, one, I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to smoke. You know, I wanted to play sports. I was always out and about, whereas, you know, the mum, the dad, brother, drinking, smoking, doing whatever. And here's me just doing something total opposite, where you felt like, shit, is there something fucking wrong with me? Like, am I meant to be doing this or not? But and that's, I think, where we drifted apart as well. So I think it's generally, you'll know your path to start with, eh? And I think Patty's right. Like, there's an urge to just go, I don't want to go down that road. You know, I want to take my own road and run with it the way that I think is right. And you got to learn somehow as well. So, yeah.
Just to clarify, on multi-streaming, Duck, so you probably won't be able to see the people who are commenting on either Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or something like that, but that's why I've got the chat on the screen, so hopefully you can still see that there. Otherwise, they blocked you because they think you're a dick. Duck's a dick.
Been called worse, mate, doesn't matter.
Yeah. But no, it's it is kind of sad that you know, it can be hard to break the shackles of your parents. Like I looked at my father and I ended up becoming a very serious drinker. But he was a true alcoholic in the sense that every day, pretty much from sun up to sundown, he would have a beer can in his hand, unless he was at work. And even then, he tried to sneak him in. You know, he had the alcohol in the shed, so he could go down to the shed to pretend he was working on shit and just drink there. And most of my memories of him are him passed out drunk, and us kids putting silly stuff on him to take photos of him. You know, shaving cream, slices of cold meat on his face and things like that. And yeah, no real positive memories of the man. But then when I was in the army, I became a massive binge drinker. Alcohol was, I could not wait for the weekend to go and get smashed again. And even after I got out of the army, medical discharge, it was still something big. But then when my missus said, I'm pregnant, it was kind of like, okay, this is a wake up call. I do not want to be like my old man. So I hardly drink to this day. And I'm very careful about who I'll drink with as well. Because I turn into a fuckwit. I like to think I'm a lovable fuckwit, but I'm a shit stirrer. I lose my inhibitions and I do stupid shit. So I'm very, very careful about who I will drink with. I won't even drink with a lot of old army mates these days because they'll send me into some of my bad habits from the past. I actually got counselled for alcohol abuse. Because I was just drinking so much, especially when I got back from Somalia. Alcohol, as fun as it is, and I'm not anti-drinking. I don't mind the idea of having a drink, but I know what I'm capable of when I'm on it, and I'm very careful about that now. What about you, Sim? What's your relationship with alcohol like?
Yeah, look, I've been lucky. I mean, lucky I can sort of walk away and leave it the drums at all, but periods of time. My main thing before I hit the hospital, mate, used to be painkillers. Painkillers were a big fucking thing for me. Oh yeah. Just with injuries, with oppos, and and funnily enough, it's weird. Like the biggest injury I've ever had, I never needed them. Whereas every other injury I've had, I've needed them. Or I thought I needed them. So Obviously here in Aussie, we went through a massive upheaval over codeine and stuff like that. Codeine changed that. And you used to be able to go down New South Wales, mate. You could buy 196 boxes of codeine on the fucking shelf.
Yeah.
And that was easy. And I probably, it took me a long time to work this out, but I grew up with issues with growing pains in the legs. So my old lady used to give me aspirin or Dispirin, which not a major painkiller, obviously, but becoming used to going when I'm sore, just take something was normal. And even playing and operating and doing sport and training, that was all normal. Like take something, don't have to worry about the pain, get through it, you're good to go. And then it just got to the stage where I caught myself after a while going, I'm no longer taking it for the pain. I'm taking it because I have to take it. Because if I don't, I'm not going to perform or function. So, and that really, when that substitutes, I think, quality and time, that's when you realise it's something. And I'm not talking like, mate, I'm talking 90 to 100 a fucking day. So,
Jesus.
Dead set serious, like hand in my fucking heart, my daughter. At one point, mate, I would be buying 3 to 4 packets of Nurofen Plus a day just to function. And I never looked at it as a problem because it wasn't any hard drug. But in theory, yes, it fucking is. Like it's masking the shit that you're doing, and it's masking what's going on, and you're using it to escape the fucking shit that's going on in the background. And I used to use it as an excuse to not be angry. I used to say, like, if I don't have it, I'm going to be fucking angry, and I'm going to be a complete fuckwit, I developed a lot of anger issues over home, and then skipped the country over here, and sort of, mellowed it out a little bit because it wasn't so much of this reputation shit that has to go on over here like it does. I found it easier, obviously, after I'd done a couple of injuries to get the painkillers, and then it took off. And I think I've been here 24 years. I think probably 15 of them I've been on them. And probably about 13. So I think since 2016, mate, I haven't been on them since. So I've been completely.
But you're still in pain? You still have pain? No?
No, because your body, this is the stupid thing. Like you obviously, I go to a pain specialist. I have electrolysis and shit like that, jaw and stuff like that. And I've gone through every single fucking painkiller or, like yourself, mate, been through lots of other shit for depression and shit like that. And just never, ever, ever liked it. Ever liked how I was on it. Liked to come on it. And, a couple of times stopped cold turkey and what the fuck are you doing? You're not meant to do that. Just don't want it, man. I haven't got that urge to even attempt to be back in that same situation ever again. And it takes a bit, I think, for you to wake up, It takes a bit of a downfall maybe sometimes to wake up as well. So, but yeah, like I could easily pop 100 a day, no trouble.
That's insane, mate. Like, what was it like when you were doing like the Penine forts and that, the actual, proper codeine shit?
Yep. So fort, I would get 120 fort every 2 weeks.
Fuck me, bro.
Yep. And I'd probably pop. Oh, look, I could go through a box in a day, no drama.
I remember once, and the missus remembers this as well. I had an arthroscopy done on my knee, and they gave me Penine Fort. I would take like 4 of them, and I was fucking tripping.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking tripping. And I deliberately, when they offer me painkillers, bar when I've had a few major surgeries, like I've got quite a few heavy drugs that I just keep in the first aid kit because they give them to me, and unless I'm actually really excruciating pain, I won't take them because I know I'm kind of susceptible to. Well, this makes you feel good, doesn't it? So I try to avoid them because of that. Yeah, like fucking a box a day, bro. That's like 24.
Well, it was 30 at one point, so 30 in a box at one point. So I could do, and this is the thing, like people would, there are people who've been doing that, well known in Australia, who end up in hospital and fucking strokes and shit. And luckily enough, mate, I wasn't one of them. So everything happened to me at the right time, and then everything just sort of quelled out really quickly. So it was, it was fucking bizarre. Like when you get to a point, like I tried a couple of times to stop as well, and that was the thing I tried. But until you get fucking tired of doing what you're doing, repeating the same shit, you're never going to stop.
Mm.
You know, you have to actually make that conscious decision and go, I've had enough. Like I'm tired of it. I've had enough of it. And that's not an easy point either. Like that's not. I mean, that's okay from someone who's done it saying it's easy to do. It's not fucking easy to do, but it is doable. And that's really, I think, one thing I try to highlight with people is, you know, everybody goes through a bit of shit, obviously, right? Some more than others. Some are in bigger depth than others as well. But there is a commonality between everybody, and you know, once you want to make that decision, the biggest thing I can give someone is make sure someone is there with you as well. So you've got that support to lean on. You know that when you do fuck up, because you will fuck up, and that's fine. Like it's okay to fuck up. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to happen, you know. And I think if you go through, and look, if it doesn't, then even better. You've done fucking better than 90% of it, you know. But have that expectation to know I'm going to have a downside. Something's going to happen, but I can recover. No drums. The money back in my pocket, mate, was a big fucking thing. A huge thing, put it that way. So it was really, really, a big difference.
Yeah, Facility just said in chat there, your mic does, it's almost like the noise gate's causing an issue or something. It's cutting in and out. We can still make it, still make you out on that, but you can see like even the way you're lighting up when your mic goes on. But like Paddy just said there, rock bottom is not an easy place to be, but it is a beginning.
And
look, the only way is up.
Yeah, look, you literally, the beauty about rock bottom, I think, is that once you
that is much better. That mic quality now, by the way.
I actually switched the echo shit off on the background here, which I didn't realize it on. But I think Paddy's right. Like, my rock bottom, like, you know, my rock bottom has been told I'm not going to wake up.
Yeah.
You know, realistically. And I knew it was my rock bottom because the first thing I thought on doing was I'm getting the fuck out of here. Fuck this. I don't care. I'll deal with it. You know. And I've still got this imprinted in my head to this day where the nurse who was talking to me literally just saying to me, mate, you got to listen. Like, you've got to listen. Like, we're not here to fuck you over. We're not here to fuck you up. I can't guarantee, but we'll do the best that we fucking can. And I can still see her face over the top of me while I'm lying down. So, you know, that's something that burned in. And like I said, as soon as
this is when they were going to put you out into the coma.
Yeah.
So talk us through. It was obviously you were conscious, and it was right. We're going to be putting you into a coma.
Yep.
So what happens? Did you get your kids in and have a chat? No. There was no time.
Look, they said to us, you know, is there someone you want to call? Like, do you want to call your kids? You want to call? I went, no. Look, like, to be honest with you, if it's going to happen, I'd rather than not be here for it to start with, or rather than, you know, find out later on. And I don't know if that was a wise decision or the right decision either. Like, I wanted.
Bro, if I did that to my missus, I would want to hope I died, because she would fucking kill me if I didn't allow her to come in and have a chat with me beforehand. That's a strange decision. I'm not going to lie. That's a strange decision to do that. But I kind of get it. It's like, I think maybe your motivation there was you didn't want to worry them anymore. Maybe I don't know.
And then I think like, 100%. Like I think it was a case of like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. These guys in front of me don't know what's going to happen. You know, and it was weird because at that point when I said no, that's when everything just went really, really real calm, real chill. I think I just accepted the fact of I can't control this shit. Like, there's nothing I can do. What'll be. And whether or not, mate, that was, you know, another form of will where, you know, it's okay, well, I have to wake up now because, you know, I haven't told them. So there's a few different angles you could look at it really as well. I don't know. It wasn't hard to say that. Like, I just said, no, look, you know, and, you know, they get the phone call at 3 o'clock. So I went in about 8 o'clock at night. They get a phone call at 3:30 in the morning saying you got to come down and sign papers, you know, to say that we've done this operation already, just so that way you can say yes, and then put us on life support, and, you know, pretty much have to ride it out and see what happens. So
my co-stars trying to make an appearance. I just I've been playing with that Studio Gimli AI art thing, and I've done a couple of really cute photos of him that I put one of them up on Twitter of me and him. He's a very loving boy, this one, but that's kind of insane but it's weird you say that you've reached that kind of a point where what happens, because that's kind of where I am. Like, I don't know if the situation changed and I was imminent to be deaf, maybe my mindset would change then, but I'm kind of at this point now, I don't talk about it too much, but obviously this new sort of series I'm doing is one where I can talk about the experience. Hello, Max. Say hello to everyone. But I had a stroke a couple of years back. What they call a mini stroke, a TIA, transient ischemic attack or something. And we ended up laughing while I'm laying on the ground, recovering. I couldn't talk. It was all gibberish. But we ended up, like, they filmed it, and it's one of my favorite clips of me because I'm laying on the ground and my brain's starting to repair. And I'm trying to say a sentence, and then my brain just kind of loses it again, and I end up talking gibberish again. And what I was trying to say was I'm retarded now. So even in that point where I was half paralyzed, one side of my body wouldn't work, and I couldn't communicate properly, but it was still, if it happens, it happens. I've got no say in this. If I die, if I find out I'm going to die in a week or so, it's going to be sad. I want to be a grandparent and all the rest of it, but it is what it is. I can't change that. Just kind of, it's weird hearing you talk like that, because I haven't heard too many people say that as well. But I'm kind of of that mindset myself, where it's, you just got to, okay, if that's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's not much I can do about it. So if that's it, once the lights go out, that's my time over and done. I just hope I've managed to leave a decent enough legacy behind me.
Yeah, and I think, the beauty of that, you become free.
Yes.
And I know that's a hard thing maybe for people to understand, but what it does is it lifts a weight off your shoulders. It's gone from that indefinite thing to, okay, it'll happen. I mean, it's going to happen regardless, right? So let's be real, we're not getting out of here. We're all going to do it. When you accept it and you go, okay, I can't well, to a point I can't control it. Then you actually become, it's almost unshackling, mate. You become a little bit freer in the mindset as well.
And what are your thoughts on what people think of you?
Look, to be honest with you, it's none of my fucking business. It's none of my business. Like,
through the screen, my man, through the screen. Fist bump.
Honestly, it's none of my business. I think the problem is, we worry sometimes, and I mean that with respect. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. What I mean by that is, what you think of me. If you think shit of me, then it's none of my business, and if you think good of me, it's none of my business as well. But to me, it's up to me to be the character I'm meant to be and who I am. And if I'm the person I'm meant to be, then hopefully I leave the impression I'm meant to leave. Like, if I don't, then I don't. So
there's two people I care about: my wife and my son. And obviously my dogs as well. And as you can see, my dog is all over me. Here he is again. So I like to say, if a golden retriever, hello Max, if a golden retriever can love you, you must be a good person, because they are angels put on this earth for us. Mwah.
Mate, kids and animals, I reckon, eh? Kids and animals are the best judge of character, eh? So, and you know what? I'd rather spend time with dogs than some people,
Yes.
But that's just the way. That's the way, I suppose. For me, it's about energy, mate. You got to have that energy, eh? It's just about the right fit.
Yeah, Paddy, you're right there. I obviously care about myself, and that's kind of why I do what I do. Yeah, I piss people off and all the rest of it, but for the most part, I want to be able to try and do nice things, and that's why I'm doing this now, so I can speak to interesting people and share some stories and get them out there. Just give me 1 sec. I think both of them want to go out for a sec. I'll just put them out.
Cool, good. Yeah, I agree. Look, I think self-care is a big thing too. You got to obviously have self-care as well, like, you know. But as long as it's not selfish, it's key as well. You know, I think half the problem is if it becomes selfish, then it's not really productive for yourself.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really like. You know, I'm sort of lucky. I get to roll with people that are pretty fucking cool. You know,
you do. You've got a good bunch around you.
Yeah, and you know, like we sort of cross parts of it too with the people that we've got as well. So you know, and
like that fucking miserable old bastard who was in chat before.
Brendo. Yeah, don't call him Brendy, mate. I've learned that that's not a good name to call him. Doesn't like Brendy.
You've seen the infamous clip of me and him playing with the bear raw. Oh,
it's gold. Yep.
Love it.
Yeah. You know, and that's just come about by opportunity too. So it's sort of I'd never thought. I think for me with Streammate, like you meet so many people from around the world that you'd never meet. You know, normally if you're out and about, and that's really amazing more than anything else. People that have the same sort of common sort of like, I suppose, or common interest would be the way to say it.
So we're kind of getting into the next part I wanted to talk about, which is how did you end up getting into gaming? Like with your background, it doesn't really sound like something that, you know, a man like yourself would have gotten into.
Yeah. Look, I'd always obviously, you know, done a bit of stuff in school and stuff like that, and computers. But that was back in the days of the old days, you know, the old fucking Commodore 64 and Commodore 16 and shit, and Ataris. And look, I literally, when I found DayZ, or when I found Arma 2, I'd bought a PC over here from Radio Rentals, and that was my first PC I'd ever had in Australia. And not being able to get anything more than 15 to 20 fucking FPS on Arma, mate, it sort of gave it away pretty quickly after a while, and started watching people. So always been a bit of a console fella, or like, you know, the plug-in will grab it. In fact, over home they used to do a thing where you could hire a console for 3 days. They'd actually drop it out to your house and then drop your games and then pick it back up. So I always had my fingers on it somewhere, and use it as an escape, I suppose, as well. You know, like it's more of a distraction. You know, you get away for a couple of hours, put your head down and play whatever you want to play, and you sort of, I suppose, at peace for a little bit of time. So,
hey, do we play that clip for everyone?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it.
Let's see if I can do it without the stream crashing.
Fuck, I hear a bear.
Where?
I don't know, but I'm in a lot of trouble if there is one. I'm not going to shoot him. He's coming for me, I think. Yep. Oh no, that's you. You fucking bastard. Fuck you.
Oh, Brendo. Good old Brendo.
It's getting thin, boy. It's getting real.
Yeah, that's the call of the day, eh? It's getting thin, boy.
I love that because, like I said, I'm an asshole. I'm a troll, but I just couldn't resist. And Brendan, he gave as good as he gets.
Yeah,
he gets me as well all the fucking time. But yeah, so. Paddy was asking there, when did you come into social gaming, social as in streaming?
So look, it was when I got the Xbox. So when the Xbox come out and they brought out DayZ on Xbox, I started dabbling with it then because you could do it through the Xbox. So I'd never ever streamed. I'd only been watching YouTube videos, Frankie and all that, Jack Braggs, you know, pretty much everybody was doing DayZ. And on the Xbox, mate, I started playing. Well, I'm playing obviously DayZ because I had it on the Xbox. Didn't have a PC, just had the Xbox. That was 2016, I think, off the top of my head. And obviously the same time around with coming out of hospital, mate, I had a lot of fucking time on my hands. So the biggest thing was trying to do it and starting to do it. And then I thought I got a mate over in New Zealand who was on Xbox as well, so it was a way to connect with him to begin with.
Yep.
And it was only him and I just mucking around. And he's actually the one who originally came up with the original name. Like I had a different name called Sinister. And then went and he just came out with Cinnamon due to the song that's out there. And well, no, yeah, look, we'll stick with that and see what happens. And it just sort of, I got the bug. I suppose I got the bug because in theory I wasn't doing anything during the day. I'd only begun a physical rehab sort of thing. And had a lot of time on my hands, so I just started streaming. Started hitting the go live button, going for an hour or two or whatever, and with the console area, it sort of it took off quite well. Like we sort of got stuck in, started meeting a lot of people. In fact, a lot of people from console that I met are now on PC with us as well. So we've sort of done this migration over from console. So obviously used to run with the Greedy Peasant every now and then as well.
Love Greedy. He's a good bloke.
Used to used to do a few different things, just trialing stuff out and having a crack. And I don't know if I still hold the prestigious title, I suppose you'd say, but I was one of the only guys I think on console to ever get rated by Smoke. Got rated twice in 1 week. So I was sitting there on a Thursday night with about 2 viewers, and next minute there was 2,000 people in there. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on here?
It's an experience, isn't it, when you get rated by one of the big boys?
Yeah, and and then there was a follow up a couple of days later as well, and that's really where it started to kick in a lot more as well. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
And how do you find it for you mentally? Being a bloke who was raised around pubs and all the rest of it, and Sim looks like Mirko Crop Cop. Who's Mirko Crop Cop?
Fucking hell, mate! That'd be a compliment and a half. Put it that way.
I told him he looks a bit like Vinnie Jones.
Oh, Vinnie boy.
What's it like for you being a streamer?
Look, I got into it, like I really got into it, I wasn't working. Obviously I was on insurance, like medical insurance, so money wasn't an issue technically. And it was my release, mate. It was for me when I come out of hospital, obviously I've got the scars, I've got the disfigurement, I've got, I'm aware of that and I get that. But it was about building confidence.
You just look battle hardened to me, honestly.
Well, look, I've healed well within reason, and I can tell you, anybody who wants some fucking sunscreen, go and get some skin grass on you because you never get sunburn at all. It's kind of amazing. Like, everything goes red, and this just stays white. So I mean, I've got.
Yep.
Cuddle right out, obviously. Did so. But it was more building confidence, mate. Trying to learn to talk to people again. I had to learn to walk and eat. Can I see a video of it, bro? Send a video. Mate, I'll take that as a top 10.
I fucking love Facility, mate.
Yeah,
I fucking love him with his dry sense of humor.
It's good value.
It's the sort. We kind of gravitate, though. I've noticed that. Like, we've got another one in there with a dry sense of humor. King Alex just popping up in chat as well.
Yeah.
He's another fucking absolute legend who I did an interview with a couple of months back. But Patty's got a good question there. Does the connection with other streamers and viewers help in a positive way for your mental health, or is there a lot of stress involved?
I think the only stress that's involved in it is the stress you put on yourself, right? So, and what I mean by that is if you overcomplicate it, look, it's nervous reaching out to new people, obviously, right? And that can be in fucking everyday life, really. To be fair, it can be nervous to talk to the fucking milkman for all you know. But I think what I found is, Boydie said it right. You gravitate to the people that you'll bounce with as well. And I think it's stressful if you make it stressful for yourself. Like generally most streamers are in the same boat within reason in regards to what they want to do and how they want to do it. And I think I really honestly, and this is probably a bit preaching, a bit bullshitty, really, but I really honestly think if people just take that step to be uncomfortable, it does become comfortable. And whilst people are scared to reach out, you know, they can only say no. Like,
yes. When you were talking that, it was like, that's a philosophy I've had for a long time. And it's one that I try to say to my son, shoot your shot at anything. The worst they're going to say is no. Like,
right.
I remember I asked, people said to me, how did you get Dean Hall for an interview? And I said, I just asked.
Yep.
The worst he's going to say is no. And I asked him, and then, I'd wait about 3 to 6 months later. I'd send through another message because I didn't get a reply. And that, the fact that I didn't get a reply, I didn't take as an insult. It was the guy runs a fucking multi-million-dollar company. And God knows what else he's got involved in. I only ever see the gaming side of it, but he's probably doing other stuff as well. He's a pretty big name in New Zealand. But I just kept on asking politely. And I sent him a gift once when Brian was working there. And I sent them both a coffee mug the year that I did coffee mugs for all the dev team as well. And it had his name and logo on it. But there was no message attached to it. It was just, I liked the guy. I wanted to do something nice for him. I was able to do it. And I just kept on asking. And then one day I got a response. And I was like, fuck. Everyone was saying, how did you get it? How did you get it? I said, I asked. Just fucking ask. The worst they're going to say is no. That beautiful girl you see at the fucking coffee shop every day.
No. Yep.
Ask. Well, that's a bit of a hard one these days. She might report you for fucking sexual harassment or whatever. But I still say hi to her. What the worst she's going to say is, "Get away from me, loser." And it's like, okay, your loss. Walk on. That's right. Find yourself someone who appreciates you. But the big thing though, where I want to delve on this a bit more though, is you've got a branding around steady your nerve, around mental health. How do you handle, because that's going to attract people who might want to trauma dump. How do you handle that? Because that can be very that can put a lot of extra weight on you when you've got your own shit you've got to deal with.
I think at the end of the day, it's okay to say no as well. So realistically, I've been pretty lucky where I don't have people come in and just take it over, like take over the show. And you're going to get the poor me's. And this is no disrespect to them either. You're going to get the poor me's, you're going to get the people who are like the world's fucking the worst or whatever as well. But, realistically speaking, from my point of view, mate, if you wake up fucking breathing, it's a good fucking start. When I was being transported out of ICU, right? So, and this is a story I've told a couple of people, and maybe this is the medication wearing off when I was in ICU as well, I don't know, but in hospital, in ICU, you're on an air mattress, right? So it's a pumped up air mattress that's plugged into the wall. When you're being moved down to ward, they unplug it, so you fucking deflate. So I'm lying in the bed, getting transferred down to a different ward, and this is in the PA in Brizzy, and I'm in a deflated mattress, looking like probably the saddest.
Sorry, for those who don't know, the PA, Prince Alfred Hospital in Brisbane.
Prince Alfred. So one of the bigger hospitals in Brisbane. And I'm in the middle of the hallway in a deflated mattress, looking sorry for myself. Really quite happy, to be honest with you. I'm like, shit, I'm going down from ICU to a ward. Great. Got a breathing tube out. I've got a feeding tube out. I can talk. I'm not able to walk or sit up, but I can do something. So, and this Tongan orderly, it's starting to push me down to go down to the ward. And he just turned around and said to me, goes, having a bit of a hard day, mate. And I sort of went, oh yeah, look, is what it is. He goes, look, brother, I'll tell you what my mum used to always tell me and what she stands by. He goes, when you wake up in the morning, say ta for the sunrise. He goes, and when you go to bed at night, say ta for the sunset. And he goes, and just remember, nothing in the middle matters. Now, I literally only seen him for 5 minutes, and I never seen him fucking again. And my response,
he left an indelible mark on you, though.
Just fucking there. Like, and it wasn't. And if you can work that out, let me know what it means as well. But it's more a case of stop worrying about the shit that doesn't matter. People are obviously going to come in. They're gonna have a shit day, right? To me, my job as a streamer, or what I'm doing, is to help them escape that shit day. Like, help them have that 3 to 5 hour release of stuff that they don't have to deal with right that period of time, and they can actually get to unwind or get to de-stress. And I think what Paddy was saying about, like, if you struggle to get up and stream, I fucking struggle to push to go live all the time. Like, some days you go, and all you do is look at my Discord and go, fuck it. It's it's hard. Like sometimes you just don't have that mental fortitude to go and fucking do it. But you still fucking do it. You know, still go and hit the button. If you've got to finish early, then you finish early. That's fine. But I think for me, streaming, you got to take it out the fact that you're not there to, you know, to really make it about everybody else, right? You're there being you. People are coming to see you. They're there to engage with you and to be around you or your group or people that you're with. And if you start making it more about the people, that's when it starts taking a toll on you big time, because you're always worried about everybody else. You do have to keep a bit of a mental fortitude on your head, because people will take energy from you. Obviously, you know, it can be toxic. It can be that way or whatever as well.
You got to know when to walk away from it. You know, like you said, we started it off and you said sometimes you just got to say no if it's too much. And I think I used this analogy potentially with the facility interview, but it's a bit like when people are drowning. That, you know, if you go in there and you don't know how to handle that situation, they're going to drag you down with them. Sometimes, you know, to save yourself or to be able to save them properly, you've got to push them away. And you know, help them from a distance. Just jumping in there, you know, neck deep in the water with them, in the trenches with them, might not be the best option for it. Yeah.
And I think the other thing is too, it's not that you're trying to be above them, right?
No,
you're not trying to be above them. I'm trying to genuinely connect with people because I'm on the same level. Like, I want to be on the same level as you. So I'm not trying to be above you. I'm trying to be right beside you. And you know, if the messages you get sometimes when people, I've had a message come through from one guy who goes, you know, I don't have a lot of family, but for the 2 hours I'm here with you, you know, it just makes me not have to worry about the shit that's going on. And to receive that from someone who's in your chat that may not be chatting, but might just pop in every now and then, is more of a boost and more of a sense of worth than anything else as well. And I suppose it can be a double-edged sword too, because you don't want to thrive on that all the time in case, you know, it doesn't happen, because shit that's not happening, what's going on, you know? I honestly think, you know, if you're there as an ear to listen to people, and look, I do it in my Discord. I've got a area in my Discord where people have got a rule, and I've always said to people, if you want me to lock it so that you guys are only in it, you know, and you can fucking dump whatever you want on there, and people will talk to you about it. Like, you know, it's a bit of a session or a group where people, if they want to get something out and want to get something off their chest, fucking go and do it. Like, no one's going to judge you on it. You know, that's what it's for. I don't want anybody scared of being able to talk. I think that's really important. You know, like, because, you know, the problem is the one time they don't talk is one time they go and do something fucking stupid. So it is hard to take on people's issues, 100%. But maybe sometimes it's not about taking on people's issues. It's just about showing that you're there.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, even if that's just, you see someone, because, you know, a lot of our friendships are online. And, you know, if you see someone post something that just doesn't look quite right, send them a message. You know, just, hey, mate, you okay? You doing all right? And, yeah, you might just make a massive difference for that person. And, yeah, they may unload, or they may just, you know, say, I'm good, mate. You know, I quite often, well, yeah, if I see something, yeah, I'll just send them a message and say, I saw your comment, mate. Just know someone cares. Yeah, it might be a fucking ugly ass bloody 6'4", 6'3". I'm getting too fat. I'm losing height. But dickhead from down under. But I care, mate. I might be on the other side of the fucking world here, but I care.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's rare what the DayZ community has, the goodness of it. You know,
despite what some would say.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and look, every community has its ups and downs and bullshit aside, right? But there's a
not that I'm ever involved in that.
No, mate, perish your fucking thought. Like, you know, it's I think deep down it's the goodness that brings people in. You know, like, we all have a love of the game. We probably all have a love of comradeship and mateship as well. And it doesn't matter if you're man or woman or fucking dog, cat, whatever. It's just the fact that we're banding together to enjoy what we enjoy.
Well, getting onto the DayZ thing again, you know, we play a game that is, you know, not that I'm really playing it much at the moment. I'm just taking a bit of a break from it, but I've been playing this game over 10 years, and it's a game that really makes you, yeah, we've endured a lot over the years with DayZ, some dizzying highs and some terrifying lows, and that embrace the suck. It brings you together. When you speak to other people who played DayZ back in the day, and even now with all its little bugs and silly little things every now and then and weird decisions they make, we still love the game, and that's you unite around stuff that tests you.
Yeah, like if we didn't have anything to complain about, it'd be a boring fucking life, wouldn't it? Really.
Well, I used to always do when I was in the army, but I used to say when the people aren't complaining, that's when you know they don't give a fuck anymore.
That's right.
While they're complaining, there's still some life and morale and all the rest of it in them. But when people stop complaining, that's when you really need to be worried.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's where the interest has gone, and that's where, things aren't on the right page, obviously, as well. So, but yeah, look, it's I know. Look, I built the shit simply because I wanted to leave something behind for the daughters. I'm strong on a thing of, look, I want to leave more than I take. 20 years ago, probably would have been the other way around.
I like to call it, if I do end up at the pearly gates, I want to make sure I've got more ticks than X's against my name.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm trying to balance it out somehow, And, look, I've never ever sat there and went, oh, I'm going to be a fucking millionaire. Like this is going to, never ever had that thought pattern at all. I just wanted to build something that can give someone some form of stability, some form of relief, and just some form of belonging, I suppose, as well. It's okay to not be okay. That's the thing people say as well. But it's also okay to be okay. Like a lot of people sort of think, oh, I can play on the, not okay side, but fuck, you're allowed to be okay as well. So if there's something we can do to do that, then great. That's fucking brilliant.
How big has gaming been in helping you, achieve what you're trying to do with this?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I was more into the gaming side of it and the streaming side of it than I was the brand to start with, right? And then I had a bit of a mind switch, and so I was approached by Facebook to be a Facebook gaming partner, and I think originally I was taking it, and I looked at taking it. It was obviously leaving Twitch and going to Facebook. This is before it all fucking crashed, anyway. And so, what really sort of solidified it for me was, while you're having to rebuild all your viewers and all that sort of shit over on Facebook, but it was about me losing my brand. Like I was under them. I had to do what they had to tell me. Whereas at the moment now, I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to sell out. Like I know that's a bit corny, but I sort of thought it's great having money coming in from them. It's great being paid. It's great being a partner, whatever. But what am I actually really doing? Like, am I just going to be another individual under the label? And you know what? To me, it was like, well, fuck it, I can go that route, not a problem, and just do what everybody else does. Or I can try my fucking route. And if it doesn't work, at least I tried. And I'm not going to lose anything over it. So when I sort of declined it from them, that was when I started going, well, what am I actually doing? What am I here for? Or what do I want to do? So that's when I started thinking the merch side of things. And originally when I came out of hospital, mate, I actually had a clothing label that was taken on board and had a contract with a couple of people in Melbourne and stuff. And was, creating hoodies and creating t-shirts and selling t-shirts and selling hoodies. And it was just something there that it was more of a hobby to start with, and it just kept building and building and building. And I'm not by any chance a fucking millionaire at all, but it was just more, I felt good seeing other people wearing my gear, which is probably a bit sort of, weird, but it was nice to see people going, and nice for people not to know it's me that's made them as well. I think that was the other thing that really made me sort of laugh was like, fuck, that person's wearing my fucking t-shirt and they don't even know it's my t-shirt. They're wearing it because they chose to wear it, because they obviously are buying into it, not monetary wise, but more mentally. It's that forum of you want to feel the part, you want to look the part, and you be the part as well. So, and whatever part that is entirely up to you, but at least you got the backing of someone behind you as well. So, look, gaming really, really solidified my drive, I suppose, and made me realize I can reach out. Whereas before I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know how to do half the shit. I do now as well.
So what attracted you to a game like DayZ though, which is really cock and ball torture as far as gaming to go? I just had to get that in there for those playing bingo back at home.
Yeah, fucking bingo. Thanks, mate. There's nothing like it, eh?
No.
There's armors. There's fucking, there's all sorts of everything, right? COD's always the same, a little bit more on top of it. But there's nothing like DayZ. There's never, ever been something like DayZ, and there never will be something like DayZ again. It's always going to be what it is. And I think it was seeing people in pain, mate, that may have attracted me a bit to it, watching people struggle, and think, well, fuck, if they're struggling, well, maybe I want to try that myself as well. And, it touched areas, I think, where no other game had touched before as well. Like, everybody loves a fucking zombie movie, right?
Yeah.
And that's a curiosity of it, eh? Where everybody goes, oh, all right, there's a game, let's fucking try it, And like I said, watching Frankie, watching all the boys, doing what they do, and watching that on YouTube for such a long time, you're like, I just want to have a crack at it. And then trying it, mate, and sucking ass badly. Like really fucking badly. Like, not living, not being able to fucking survive. And it's the ultimate game of Tetris, mate, just with a few more things thrown in as well.
But it's one of those games where, if you are a PvP legend or all the rest of it, it could be amazing. But you could still enjoy it if you're just a potato.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong way, eh? And I think that's the beauty of it, eh? It's not scripted to where you got to run it the way that they want you to run it either, eh?
Yep.
The emotion's a big thing for me. I think I've never realised how emotional it fucking gets, mate, and how much it actually taps into you, and actually, your first, like, no matter your first gunfight to your fucking 1000th gunfight, mate, you still get that little bit of an adrenaline dump and still get that little bit of a buzz out of it, eh? So, yeah, I think it's almost been wholesome. I know, and that'll sound fucking funny, but it's almost wholesome, man. Like, I think it's I think if anything, it's managed to sort of help people repair things that they didn't realize were broken. Yeah.
It's a good game like that because it's it also, one of the other things I've always loved about it is there's plenty of downtime between those butt clenching moments of sheer adrenaline for just engaging with your chat, isn't there?
Yeah. And generally it's nice to have a chinwag, man. Like,
that's Aussie / Kiwi for a conversation.
Conversation, yeah.
Chinwag.
Wagging the chin. Yeah, it's I'm generally like, I have a bit of a, and I'll probably get tested there, but I have a really good knack of knowing when people have come in and actually come in the chat. So there could be a year ago, but some reason I still recognize them as well. And generally I'm interested. Like, I'm interested in what you got to say. Like, I'm interested in what's going on. I'm asking the questions because I want to know. Like, I'm not asking the questions because I'm fucking scripting it and have to do it that way. I'm asking because I genuinely want to know. I want to engage, and I want to fucking talk. Like, I want to have a yarn. I couldn't talk for fucking nearly 3 months, so I'm trying to fucking catch up and sort of.
So how long ago was this, Tacoma?
2016, brother. So it was August 29th, 2016.
Wow.
And it took near on 2 years at least to get anywhere close to being. Well, it took 2 and a bit years before I went back to football and started playing. So yeah, it took its look. A lot of people sort of go, oh, I'll pour you, but mate, it was the best fucking thing in the world that could ever happen. Like, I would not change it in a heartbeat. I'd never ever change it. Like, they go, oh, would you go back? And no, mate, I'm glad it happened. Like, I'm so much more myself now than what I ever was because of it.
It's a good point you're raising there, mate, because well, maybe not everyone, but most of us have something that we look back and go, oh, geez, I wish that hadn't have happened. But at the same time, if it hadn't have happened, you wouldn't be the person you are today. You constantly have people say, oh, what would you do if you could go back and talk to your 17-year-old self? I probably wouldn't say anything because I wouldn't be where I am now, the person I am now. And I know I'm kind of saying that from a point where my life's not great, but it's not bad. I'm not bloody a gazillionaire, sailing yachts around the world and all the rest of it. But I've got a beautiful missus. I've got a beautiful son. I've got 2 amazing dogs right now. I've had some amazing pets before. I've got some amazing life experiences behind me. What more do I, really want or need? It's like, yeah.
And you know what you've got too, Woody, which I don't know if you get this at all or not, and people in chat might get this as well. You've got a surrounding of people that actually give a fuck as well. So, what you're doing here and what you've done previously, it brings people out to where they can actually feel like they've got, and I'm going to say the word home, and I know that's a strong word, but not in a bad way. It's a sense of belonging too. People engage with you because, regardless if people are dickheads, that's fine, but they engage with you because they want to engage. And you make us feel like we have a way to do it. Like it's I mean, you could easily just shut up shop and go, fuck it, don't want to do it anymore, who cares, but you're not, mate. You're still plodding along, still doing what you do, and you're giving people a chance to have a bit of a platform and a bit of a view and a fucking chat. Like
I wish more people would do it, mate. And I've always kind of said the only reason I started doing a DayZ podcast was because no one else was doing it. I watched Altercast and then the Compass podcast, and they didn't last, for whatever reasons. But I thought, it was a great idea. Someone's got to keep on doing it. And I've stopped it now. And I do worry a bit about that. I look at the Discord and it's a little bit quieter these days and all the rest of it. But I had to stop it when I did because the love just wasn't there, and it was becoming a bit more of a chore than something I was genuinely loving doing. And you shouldn't do something. It's like when we were talking about streaming before, when it's hard to press that go live button. If you're not feeling it, don't press the go live button. Your viewers will know. Yes. I appreciate you saying that, mate. But it's why I'm doing this now, because it's something I enjoy. It's something I love, and I still want to be able to get people on and talk and try to add some value to whatever little community is there is around us. And mate, would I love to be massive and reaching a bigger audience? Yeah, maybe that'll happen one day. But we've got a handful of people in here. More than could fill a car, so that's fucking awesome. As far as I'm concerned,
everybody obviously is engaged for the right reason as well. So it's is it hard to go live? Yes, it is hard to go live. Is that my fault? Yes, that's my fault. Why? Because I put that on me. You guys don't put that on me. I put that on me. I put my expectations to be where they are. I'm hard on myself on the expectations where I want to go live every single fucking day. But in reality, there's other things I have to do. I can't keep the roof over my head if I don't fucking work. I can't stream because I'm working. But you got to balance it out, and it's really about the balance side of it as well, where you're right. If you don't feel like you can go live, don't fucking go live. People know that you're not even.
And if you're not in a good headspace, 100%. Even if you want to go live, 100%. Don't. Like, no. You were Floydius like the grandpa you warned company about beforehand. You cheeky fucker. You cheeky fucker.
Don't take the mints.
But don't. We talked about when people want to trauma dump on you, but don't trauma dump on your community. Most of the time they want to come in and they want to just relax and forget their woes and all the rest of it. And I know that this format that I'm doing right now isn't the most popular because it kind of goes against that. But I like to think that by having these discussions, we're helping a small group of people to understand that they're not alone, that the challenges they've faced are no different in most cases than other people. They're unique to you and all, but it's how you handle them. Like, one guy that I love to talk about is my mate Moonshine, and I know you know Moonshine as well.
Yeah.
And what did you think when you found out his life story?
Yeah, so and Mooney's for me, Mooney's very, very good at not pulling the woe is me shit, obviously, right? He literally he cops it on the chin, and I know that sort of weird to say, but he cops it on the chin. He's never got a bad word. He's never got a fucking bad word about anything.
I don't think I've ever heard him say anything negative either.
No, I've never, ever, for the cards that have been dealt and for the shit that he goes through, and for those that know him will know what I mean as well. You know, each day I bump into him in someone's chat, or he comes in the chat, or vice versa. There is never, ever, and he's a great ambassador for have a fucking smile on your face, because
Yeah.
you know, people go through shit. People go through shit times in life. That's fine, but sometimes the cards are dealt really, really badly. You know, and
it really pisses you off when you have those people who do the woe is me, and it's because that they had a bill come in or something like that. And I know it's their own. You can't judge everyone equally, but at the same time, I'm going to say it: harden the fuck up. And like I've known Moonshine for probably 6, 7, 8 years. I've got a lovely he had this made for me and sent it over. A painting or a picture of me and my family and our dog and my bird Seppi on my shoulder there, and it's beautiful. He had a friend draw that, I would spend so much time in chat talking to him, Brendan, and all the rest of it, and I miss it a bit. But they're playing a different sort of server, and I was doing my own thing and that, and I was probably a bit of a shit friend, but. Every day I was in there with Moonshine around about 12 o'clock on the dot. You go, right here, buddy, I'm off to go do physio. And I'm like, oh, okay. And this went on for fucking ages, mate, years. And in the end, I just said to him, mate, what are you doing physio for? And then he told me that he was paralyzed. And I was like, wait, what? You've never told me that. And I was like, I know so many other people, like it would have been one of the first things they would have said to you, just so you know, I'm paralyzed from the waist down or from the neck down or anything like that. But no, it was just, I got to go do physio. Okay. And when I finally asked him, and then I found out his story, and that's when we did the fundraiser to get him a gaming laptop, because he was playing on this piece of shit fucking 10-year-old PC and always struggling in that. And it was one of the nicest things that this little community that I've managed to garner was able to do to help someone who most people didn't even know. My son even donated to it. But that was just, he is an inspiration, and I love having friends like him in my life because, okay, I'll check out those cheap viewers on Stream Booth. Thank you very much, Bleary. I hope I've got a modding chat that someone can. Oh no, there we go. I've got it open. I can take care of that myself.
And I think with Mooney too, like there's never a bad day, even though there is a bad day. Like, he goes through some shit, and there's not ever. There's never a negative word, eh? There's never. I've never ever in the past couple of years now, I've never seen a negative word at all. It's always
he's a good old boy. West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Lives in his holler. I love listening to his voice because he's got the most beautiful voice because he talks like a real redneck about his hollers and all the rest of it. And he loves his mama. He loves God. He loves his country. He loves his guns. And goes hunting. A guy in a fucking wheelchair, paralyzed, and the boys load him up in the back of the ute and all the rest of it, so they can go hunting with him.
And shit. He's fucking out bowing fucking deer and shit off the back of the truck. You're like, he lives more than most people fucking live in a lifetime, you know.
And here we are. I'm complaining because I've got a dicky knee that fucking clicks and gives me a stab of pain, and I'm like, harden the fuck up, Boyd.
Harden up.
What would Moonshine say if he saw you? He'd just laugh at you.
He'd laugh. Yeah, he'd fucking laugh too. He would laugh too. He really would. And and that's a community, bro. Like it's and like we've bumped into each other through these people, and it's weird because I didn't know these people. I've not, like half my mods never knew them. Never knew them from Borough fucking Soap. In fact, I can remember each time someone's come into my chat or been involved with me, gaming wise, where that's the interaction we've had, and that's just how it's become, and even guys in the chat now, like, Facility I bumped into watching him one time, he was on YouTube, or he's actually on Twitch, and then on YouTube, Archie as well, obviously, and then Dorkwing as well. Jay, obviously, I run with Jay Plays just about every fucking Saturday now.
Yeah, Jay's a good bloke. Jay is.
Yeah, a lot of time, and I generally think, I generally think we all come from the same place in regards to, there's shit that's affected us, right? But we're also not willing to sit there and go for us. We're obviously trying to explore it and work out A, how it's happened, B, how to stop it, and C, how to keep fucking moving.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep fucking moving, nothing can hold you down, eh? Doesn't matter if you're only moving a little bit at a time, you're still fucking moving. Still doing something.
Well, as the great Kiwi poet's saying, I get knocked down.
Yep. Get back up.
But I get up again.
Yep.
You ain't ever going to keep me down.
It's knock down 8, get up 9, like it just doesn't. And that's probably where I get a lot of the mentality with regards to injuries and shit. Like I've just always went, oh yeah, fuck, okay, bust a knee, bust a shoulder, bust a fucking leg, bust, whatever. Well, how long do I have to wait? Okay, I got 5 weeks. All right, cool. There's only 5 weeks. I get frustrated, but I know it's a time period, But when it's out of your control, that's the difference, I think, where it makes it more of a dent, So, like if we can, if we can look at giving shit away, if I could give shit away to people, I'd give shit away to people every fucking day of the fucking week, I get more joy out of that than I do collecting money.
That's probably the only reason I'd love to be bigger, is so I can do more of that, because that is one thing I love doing, is giveaways and the end of year Christmas show. I didn't get to do it last year because my heart just wasn't in it, but the years passed and that we've done some awesome giveaways, and I've had people donate some amazing prizes and things like that. I love doing shit like that, mate, because it's my little way of giving back a little bit of joy to the world, and I love seeing other people do it.
Yeah, and I think you get more. It's more wholesome than anything else, eh? Like it's really good for the fucking soul, mate. Really, let's be fair. Like I don't want to take it with me, man. Like I just want to, fucking not wrong at all. Slow and steady. I mean, I'm down now for, like, I ruptured my Achilles 4 weeks ago, so I'm down. Yeah, down for I'm down for a while.
You are in the wars, brother.
Oh, look, like
joys of getting old, mate.
Yeah, and it's more just not wanting to give up. I don't want to give up. Like it's will. We call it New Zealand. We call it mana. So mana means heart or pride. And heart's a big thing. Like it just I just don't want to give up, mate. Like I'll give up when I have to, but I'm not giving up yet. So
get a bit of mongrel.
Yeah,
get a bit of mongrel.
And, it's a bit of fighting the dog, really, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I think we're lucky. Like I think I'm blessed. I'm lucky to get to interact with people that I'd never interact with any day of the fucking week.
And just isn't this a great medium to meet people like you and I? Yeah. We've never met in person, and we live in the same fucking city pretty much. We've got to fix that one day soon.
Yeah.
But in the chat, we've got Nobody from America, Patty's from America as well, Josie from America, Alex, who's from the UK, Matt Z from the UK. Yeah, we're making friends all over the world, mate, and I fucking love that because don't tell people that.
And like with Patty as well, sharing stories. So, it's not you're in Melbourne. Well, mate, sorry.
Just down the road from us.
Yeah, just down the flight path. I think the sharing the stories is the way it's got to be done. Though it can't be done for sole purpose, like for you to get something from it. It's done so that you can give something from it. So
that's what I love about our creator club, mate. That's what I love about that.
Honestly, that's been a real eye opener, because it's people who have just went, check the bullshit, don't fucking care. Let's all work together and do the right thing. Let's try and help.
Rising tide lifts all boats. That's the philosophy of the group.
100%, yeah. And that's a real. It's people banding together regardless, eh? Like it's a fucking melting pot of help. And I don't know, I'm surprised at the people that come in from where they're coming from. That's really, the reach is insane, And I call every cunt a cunt because, they're cunts because they're mates. You know, it's the one word we never use back home in New Zealand, but you use it here like nothing on earth.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
I remember once I tagged YouTube on Twitter, and I said, I find it discriminatory that you are calling a word that is part of the Aussie vocabulary an insult.
Yep.
It all depends on how it's said.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
There are good cunts, there are bad cunts, there are dog cunts, there are top cunts, there are sick cunts. There's all different sorts of cunts.
Mate, it's part of the, like, it's more, and look, you wouldn't say it back home. If you said it back home, holy shitballs, man. Like, if you even attempted to say the word back home, you'd be ducking jandals, or you'd be catching backhands.
Jandals are thongs, or
Thongs,
I don't know what they're called in America.
I don't know. These
things.
Yeah.
Whatever you call them, wherever you are.
Yep. Yeah, and it's it wasn't anything we ever said over home at all. It was only over here. It's becoming a real, it's a normal thing now as well. So, and you know what's really funny, I find, is the way that everybody rubs off on each other. So, I've got Jay who I call him a Canadian, and he calls me an Aussie, and I keep saying, "You're fuck off, cunt." Not an Australian, I'm a Kiwi. So I call him Canadian. But next minute, then the lingo's going with him, and then he's doing it with someone else, and there's just that commonality that builds that friendship and that bond. And I don't think, other games have that effect, obviously, right? All good. But do the communities have the same effect as well? I don't know, because I'm only playing DayZ technically. I play a couple other ones, but I think for all the bad that they say this community's got, the fucking good outshines it any day of the week.
Yeah. And that's barring, when you're getting into your really extremist ideology sort of groups, be it on the far left or on the far right, all groups are like that. There's always going to be some discontent between different people and all the rest of it. But for the most part, any community is good at its core. It is only when you allow yourself to get distracted usually by shit that isn't even relevant to what that group is about, that things start to fracture. As much as I'm a vocal son of a bitch on, you check my Twitter feed and it's it's borderline ADHD material. One second I'm posting about transgender ideology. The next thing I'm sharing a history video. The next thing I'm sharing a picture of my dog. The next thing I'm sharing politics or something like that. Because I just love to talk about anything and everything with anyone. But when it comes to DayZ, though, we're all united in our love for the game. Yes, that love might make us angry about it at times, but we all, that people who are angry about the game are angry because they love it and they want it to be better. And the people, we humans love to get into semantics and deviate from. Androno, that is spot on, well worded, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, fully agree with that. Fully agree with that. And,
squirrel. Literally like fucking Homer Simpson with a squirrel.
Pretty much
squirrel. Get sidetracked. Yep.
And I suppose if you took the game away, then we'd have to find something else to piss off and whinge about, realistically. But I think that's where you come and where you're a conversationalist. Like, you want to have a combo, whereas there's a lot of people out there that want to have a one-sided combo. It's okay to disagree.
Yeah, Josie, that's what my YouTube feed is like. Conspiracy theories, cooking clips, and random fluffy cows. Although for me, it's golden retriever videos are my thing at the moment.
Getting plagued. I think it's I think, Paddy, what it is, right? The hardest thing is to agree to everything, right? You got to be able to say no. You got to literally be able to say, no, I don't agree with that, and be okay with that, man. Like, it's okay not to agree. Right? But you're right. You got to listen. As long as you're willing to listen, then that's what a conversation is. And that's the hardest thing to fucking start sometimes with people, because they just don't want to. They don't want to equally share it and enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, and just because you disagree doesn't mean you have to hate.
Nah, that's right. Yeah, take your feelings out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely agree.
Well, there's more that unites us as just human beings than there is that divides us. And when you only focus on those things that you disagree with, you forget about what unites us. And we all bleed red. we're all just, I've said this before, but we're all just little sacks of meat and blood and flesh and little electrical impulses that keep our little meat sacks moving around. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
The one is a play. Yeah, look, you know, the people are going to whinge about something, aren't they? Like an hour, like, you know, look, the world would be boring if people didn't complain. Like, really,
Yeah.
it'd be a shit fight, realistically. But,
and just when you get those people who are the woe is me types, who are, you know, always trying to drag you down, just walk away from them. You know, you don't need that negativity in your life. We all have our own sacks of meat. Now you're getting sexual. But yeah, we all have our own dramas and all the rest of it to deal with. Yeah, a lot of people think that I'm obsessed with some of the stuff I post. I post and ghost.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I'll post something which is just my thought at that time. And yeah, I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I don't take medication for it, but I know that I've got it now. That was a few years back. But yeah, know when to walk away. I'll post something and then I'll just move on to, you know, again, check my Twitter feed. I could do, you know, a dozen posts in a day, and they're all on wildly different things. Some people think I'm probably sitting here obsessing over one certain topic. I don't. It pops into my brain. I have a thought about it. I post what I'm thinking, and then I move on to the next thing that takes my fancy. And yeah,
I used to have it where people would go, "Oh fuck, you posted something on Facebook." I'm like, "Yeah, like, well, what's wrong?" Like, well, nothing's wrong. What do you mean? Like, I just seen something and I posted it. That's all. Like, you know, there's nothing fucking wrong. It's just what I thought at the time. So, you know, like, I don't know. Some people think generally that you know, it's like when people argue over text message. Like, how the fuck can you get emotion out of a text message? Like, it's words. You know, there's no emotion in text message. So I don't sort of, you know, people go, well, you didn't really respond the right way. Well, what am I meant to do? It's fucking words. Like, unless I'm talking to you, you can't pick the emotion that I've got. So, you know, you're jumping down shit in your own mind before you even talk to me. So, you know, spend the time to talk. Blame preservers. Yeah.
ADHD rocks. I blame preservatives, but we've risen with the chism just fine without meds.
I think most of us in our era, mate, like ADHD, fucking hyperactivity, whatever you want, you know, whatever you want to call it, mate. We had it as kids, like that's what it was, you know. Like, it's get outside and play.
They used to say it was red cordial and chicken twisties back in my day.
Cordial. Yeah, red cordial. Yep. Don't drink the red cordial. Yeah. And then if you drink
it's hyperactive.
Cordial, hyperactive. You got the Penine or the Finnegan or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And that'd dose you up more or down, either. So, yeah, you know, I guess there's a lot of shit that went on when I was growing up, mate. No drums at all. That caused a bit of fucking anger. Not a problem. I dealt with that anger when I got over here in Oz. Then life dealt me my card to make me realise that it's not worthwhile fucking doing it. You know, and if I can stop someone from having to go through a fall like I've gone through, just by talking and you know, generally being there, then fuck, you know, that's what I'm here for. Like, that to me is more rewarding than anything else. I don't want your money. Yeah, ideally, obviously, I'd like your time, because, you know, if you're coming in and chatting, great, I've got your time, and that's something you're not going to get back, and that's something I know is important to everybody as well. So if you're spending your time with me, I want to make sure you get something for your time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really the big thing, I think.
Well, it's kind of one of the reasons why, pretty much as possible, if someone follows me on Twitter, provided they're not some sort of bot fucking, you know, one of these ethot bloody OF sort of accounts, and it doesn't have an anime figure in the profile pic, I'll follow them back, because if they think I'm interesting enough to follow, then I'm kind of curious as to what they are as a person. Yeah, I usually go in and check their profile and make sure they're not a complete nut of psycho, but I generally try to follow everyone who follows me. Not because, you know, I'm doing it for, you know, for like, follow for follow, that sort of crap. It's just like they think I'm interesting enough to follow. Let me make sure I can see what they're about as well. You know, I've unfollowed some people before, but for the most part, no. I just like to see what they're talking about.
Yeah, and you know, and what sort of
catch you later, Josie.
Yeah,
Josie Garfunkel is a great bloke as well. You know who Josie is?
Yeah.
Yeah, does some pretty.
Creative club as well. Yeah.
I like that mod he's working on at the moment. The zombie one. That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
I actually hope you get that going really well, mate. That'd be a really cool take on DayZ in a different angle. Like that's almost the fucking flip side of it. Like, you know, because I know they did that a while ago, like years and years ago. I think Frankie did it playing as a zombie back in fucking 0.6, fucking 2 or 1 or whatever. But that'd be cool to see if it really comes to fruition, eh? Like, yeah, definitely keen to see where you're going with that one, mate. Like it's got legs, put it that way.
Yes,
it'd be good. It'd be some fucking trolling on that, mate. You could troll real well. You could troll real well on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But no, definitely Dorkwing. Anime profile pics is a red flag for me. It's like, nah.
Post the comments of others, not meant to agree or follow.
Paddy, 100%. And I love sharing that comedy skit of Ricky Gervais talking about free guitar lessons on that topic. Have you seen that one? No, mate, it is so on point. So Ricky Gervais talks about, you know, with Twitter, and when he puts a post up, and you know, he used to bait people. He'd post something just to see how they'd react, and he likens it to a town square, and someone's got a sign up on the notice board in the town square, and it says guitar lessons. And he said, so many people these days are of the mindset they're going to walk up to that notice board and they're going to see it, and it's going to say free guitar lessons, or, you know, guitar lessons apply here. And he's like, what? He's giving guitar lessons. So he tears off the phone number, walks over to a phone and goes, are you the person giving guitar lessons? Yeah. I don't want any guitar lessons. Okay, well, it wasn't aimed at you. Like, you didn't need to call me and say you don't need it. Just walk on by. And yeah, I love that whole fucking skit. Look it up. Ricky Gervais is an amazing comedian. Yeah, he's one of my idols for that comedy thing, where, you know, I post it quite often on Twitter. Everything is fair game for comedy. In the right room, you got to read the room, but everything is fair game. And if a joke doesn't land with you, walk on by. Just walk on by. Like, do you remember that trans comedian who went on the project and said the joke about Jesus Christ?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
I thought that was the funniest fucking thing ever. And mate, so many people got their noses out of joint over it. But his joke was basically that he was a trans guy. And on the TV show called The Project, which has got a pretty bad reputation here. But he said, you know, people think I don't love Jesus. I love Jesus. Any man who can get nailed and stay alive for 3 days straight is someone that I love. And it was, you know, a gay joke about Jesus, but it was a joke, for fuck's sake. It was hilarious. I thought it was the best thing ever. Do you know what my Jesus joke is?
No.
What's this?
What?
Hell of a way to spend Easter.
Use a word, kind of a way to spend Easter.
Yeah.
And,
but
you know,
it's a joke. Get over it.
Right.
If it doesn't land with you, you know, I wasn't doing it to offend anyone. I was doing it to try and make some people laugh.
And I'm a fucking dooley, mate. So I went private school, dooley, Christian, Catholic, whatever you fucking call it, you know. And I'm probably the person who
I was raised strict Roman Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Everyone in my family thought I was going to become a priest. That's how my grandmother was, like, seriously religious. Every day after school, 50 Hail Marys, Holy Marys, 5 Our Fathers. We read the relevant section of the Bible that, you know, I don't even know how you do that, but there's like a calendar or something, and, you know, she knew that. She was very religious, and God bless her. I'll say that out of respect for her, even though I'm not a religious person for nowadays. I'm not religious. I just my philosophy is kind of like, I don't think I need to abide by all these rules. If there is a God, as long as I'm a good person, I should be welcomed, and if not, go fuck yourself. No, I'm not interested then. I'll go down and have fucking German potato salad in hell with the rest of the fucking plebs. That's a Simpsons reference if anyone gets it. But yeah, it's I was raised very, very strict, almost to the point that I was I didn't know how to be a normal person because I thought Kiss was evil.
Yeah.
That's how fucking strict I was as a Roman Catholic, mate. My grandmother, I love telling this story. My nana, she took my sister Margaret to a movie that she thought was going to be a good movie with Christian values. Do you know what the movie was?
Tell me it's The Exorcist.
The Meaning of Life. I think she made it to the scene with the Catholic's wife, and the baby just drops out of it. And my sister Margaret said, and Nana just dragged me out of there. She was horrified. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be gold.
And I love my Nana. She is such a rock and such an amazing woman. The shit she saw, the life she lived. But I can still laugh about that because that's funny. That is funny. I can just imagine, how horrified she would have been at what she'd taken. Yeah. And this is pre-internet. She wouldn't have known what the movie was. She would have just seen the title. And yeah.
Let's go.
I know.
Yeah, because we were the same. We were, like church every Sunday and all this sort of shit, when we were growing up. And I'm not knocking anybody for doing that. Like, that's your choice,
If it makes you happy, you do you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And people, people always sort of said to me, "Oh, you're not going to get the girls christened." I'm like, well, no, because if they want to do that later in life, that's their choice. Like, I'm not going to make them do something that they may not want to do, and I'm not going to do something that I don't know if they want to do it. So, if they grow up and they go, "Yeah, I want to do it," not a problem. You do you. That's fine. I've got no issues at all. So.
There is one thing I hate hearing people say. And I've got an argument about this as well. But when people are involved in some sort of terrible incident, and it was only through God's grace that I survived, or something like that, and it's like, so what? You're telling me that God ignored those other people then, the children or the women or something like that? It's like, no, please don't say that, because that disrespects anyone who didn't survive or something like that. It's a very, I know that may be how you justify your faith or whatever, but it's disrespectful to those who weren't as lucky. And ultimately, it comes down to, it's just something that was one thing that's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because if there is a God and it's a just person, I don't think it would be that that cruel in intention.
It comes back to what I said, mate. Like when I woke up, I'm like, well, I took someone else's time. Because to me, I wasn't meant to wake up. Like, I physically was prepared not to wake up, mentally prepared not to wake up, and when I woke up, it's like, well, hang on, who missed out? Who is it that's missed out? And when I was in ICU, there was there's a couple of people in there. There was a guy who got shot by one of the coppers. There was a couple that were in a car accident. One got run over by a car, a bigger fella. And I'm laughing because of what I'll tell you in a second. And then there was a girl over here, his partner, who was pregnant. Now, she was brain dead, so she was dead, basically, on life support, pretty much, but because they were of a religious family, so the parents are pretty much either Samoan or Pacific Island anyway. So religion's pretty big, obviously, there. The mum couldn't understand that she's gone, like couldn't work it out. Like, she's still there, still breathing, even though the machines are breathing, and wouldn't switch off life. Now, I'm only awake probably for about a week, but I'm pretty conscious and can understand what's going on. And they're doing tests, obviously, each day to see whether or not, something's coming back or not. And again, was it too many drugs that I was on? I don't know. But the day that they were going to turn off, because the daughter's obviously battling with the mother to turn off life support for the other daughter. Look, mum, you got to let her go. No, can't let her go. Like, she's still alive. So the day they were going to turn off the machine, they were doing tests. And the tests that, checking to see no brain activity or whatever, and they found a fucking embryo. So she was pregnant. 7-week-old embryo. And so what eventually happened was, and I still don't know what fully happened because I never got the chance to find out, but what happened was they actually took her away and took her up somewhere else to keep her as basically to have the baby. So obviously keep her alive long enough so the baby can be. I'm assuming so the baby can get to a certain size so they can then take it
cesarean
out.
and
yeah. I don't know how what happened or how it happened or if anything went on. But that to me was like I was fucking crying actually when they said about the baby. Like when I heard that, I just fucking burst out in tears. Like holy shit, that's crazy, And then I'm laughing because her partner, who's a big 6'6" fella, who has smashed ribs from the car and has silver all on his chest where the ribs are to help build his ribs. He's out to it like I was, and there was a physiotherapist girl who was about 18, and she's probably 45 kilos. And when you're in a coma, what people don't understand is that you get pneumonia. So they actually give you pneumonia because they're pumping so much shit into you that you naturally get it. And so to get rid of that, you've got to expel it out. You've got to expel the shit out of your lung. So this physiotherapist girl, all of 40 odd kilos, is over with this big 6'6" fella who's lying flat in a bed, 150 kilos or whatever. And every 2 minutes, all we see is his legs going fucking badunk. And like it catches you on the corner of the eye, and these legs are just going fucking up, near, and down. Well, what the fuck's going on over there? And she's literally getting her hands, and she's just going fucking whack to try and break the shit up out of. And he's got fucking broken ribs, but she's hitting this guy, and she's hitting him in a way that she knows how. Obviously, and he just sees fucking legs raise up and raise down, and that's all you hear is badunk. And this is
again, everything is a game for comedy. It's a serious situation, but
100% serious.
If you don't laugh, you'll go crazy.
What can you do? Like and I think that sort of made me go. It may look fucking bad, but they're doing it for the right reason, obviously. So, you're going to get faced with choices in life, right? And how you deal with them is how you deal with them. Is there a right way? Don't quite know. There's your way. And have enough strength to know that if you choose your way, you chose it for your reason, and back yourself on it as well. You don't have to worry what other people think. You don't have to worry about what other people feel, just as long as you're not disrespecting people as the main.
Pretty much. I'm going to share something. Because I said about with the comedy and dark humor and all the rest of it. And if you don't laugh, you'll go crazy. I'm going to show you the footage. I think this is the first time I've ever gone public with it. Normally, I've just sent it in a few messages to people when I'm trying to. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. And take light of that, mate. Like, let's be fair. Like, that could have went one or two ways for you, eh?
Yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
This to me as well, I'm pretty sure.
Are you ready?
Fuck. Wow. I see you're trying to form words, eh?
And yeah.
Wow, man. How long ago was that?
About 3 years, maybe.
Holy shit. Oh, only 3 years ago.
Yeah. Not that long ago. I think I'm wearing my Democracy Manifest shirt there, and that's when I got that around that time. But yeah, I came home. And I'd just driven all the way across Brisbane from Cleveland sort of area out to Ipswich. And I get in the front door and I'm standing there and my son was looking at me. I can still remember it. And all of a sudden I started losing feeling and he's watching me. And I remember his face kind of going, what's happening? And I dropped my vape and my phone that were in my hand and then I collapsed. And then I woke up and I was on the ground. And he caught me because he saw it happen. And the missus, again, like you said before about having, someone good around you, my missus is my rock. She is, I would be so lost in life without her. and she kind of worked out almost straight away what happened. And it's funny, you're talking about the big islanders and that. It's one of those things. A lot of them are big guys, so they're quite prone to heart problems and strokes and things like that. And she's seen it happen quite a lot in managing shopping centres, which is what she does for a living. And she kind of recognised what was happening to me, so she sat me down. Or lay me down, got a couple of pillows, and then once they realised I wasn't dying, then it was kind of like, okay, he's not dying. So, some people might go into the crying and all the rest of it. You can see she's laughing her ass off. And you can see I'm not really, I still remember very clearly what it was like in my head, that I could think straight, but I just could not communicate. And I remember at one point I somehow managed to get it through to them, get my iPad, because I came up with this idea in my head. If I have my iPad, I can use that to type. Still, I'd start typing and it was just gibberish. And to this day, I still have some issues. Like, I don't know if people have noticed, but I do get a bit confused at times. Yeah, I'm looking at chat, you fuckers. I'm looking at chat. I'm noticing at their facility. But yeah, it's it is what it is. I can't change it, unless they come up with a cure for it. And I know that I'm probably prone to it happening again someday. But if it happens, it happens. If it happens and the lights don't come back on, so be it. I'm not going to know about it.
Yeah. And, people can say that's selfish, like, oh, well, you're not caring about other people. No, I'm just accepting of what it is. Right? Yeah. I've made peace with the fact I know what's going to happen. So,
because of what we do as well, mate. Our families are going to have hours and hours and hours of footage to go back. And I said this to my son just the other day. I said, I kind of view this as a bit of a, because I've talked about him many a time, throughout and that, and he could go back and he could find all these videos and hear me talk about how proud I am of him, and my missus, she'll be able to go back and find the clips like this where I'm talking about how much I love her. And 26 years, mate, we've been together, and it's fucking awesome. Yeah, she likes to say she'd get less for life, less for murder. But yeah.
But ready to go.
There's someone for everyone. You may not realize it, but there is. And it takes a bit of work as well, doesn't it? Relationships are hard, and it's not all beer and Skittles, and it's not all Disney princesses and hot babes and all the rest of it. And there's dizzying highs, there's terrifying lows, but you stick together. You're a team.
Yeah, and I think that's the key is the word team, mate. Like you need to it's not about who's on top of who. It's about being side by side. And whilst one person might have a shit day, the other person can balance it out by having and this is something when I was watching Facility last week as well. Like there's something that was said to me a while ago, which took me a lot to understand. But there's 3 8s in a day, right? For the 8 hours of work that you have, that shit, you got 2 more 8s to make it fucking better. Yeah. So it's only 8 hours.
I like that.
And that's what it breaks down to. The 8 hours or the 10 hours, whatever you want to do it, but the 8 hours in a day that you have a shit time at, right? You've got 2 more to make it fucking 10 times better than what it was to start with, and you can forget about it as well. So, don't waste the opportunity to go. Had a shit day, don't fucking care. Let's get on with it. Really. 51st day, fucking hell.
Yeah, I did see that, Paddy. I suffer from seizures that causes my heart. 51st Dates is one of the most romantic movies I've ever watched. Again, talking about me on Twitter. Apparently, they're making Happy Gilmore 2. And I am fucking excited for it. Yep. And it's a litmus test for me. If someone says they don't like Happy Gilmore movies, Adam Sandler movies, I know that they're most likely going to be an uptight asshole. Because, not every movie is as great, but they're the sort of people who, his comedy is so lowbrow. Man gets hit in the groin by football. I think that's fucking hilarious. I could watch 10 minutes of fucking YouTube videos of guys getting hit in the nuts and laugh my ass off. the missus thinks that she gets annoyed. And she said, it must be awesome being you sometimes. And I go, why? And she goes, because of your memory and things like that now. I'll find a video that I just don't remember that I've seen before. And I was like, oh, Dar, you got to watch this video. She goes, boy, you've shown me this one before. I'm like, I did? Oh, okay. Wow.
Funny now.
Yeah. But I love it. You know, I'm a simple guy like that. And if you don't think Adam Sandler movies, I can admit some of them weren't the greatest, but Zohan, don't mess with Zohan. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, and you know, it's a guy who took the piss out of himself doing stuff, to make people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really, like, he's getting paid money. That's all good, but at the end of
Then
the day,
they say, you know, his mates Rob Schneider and all the rest of them, you know, they've only got their careers because of him. I think that's fucking admirable. Yeah. Like, if I can see someone who's no longer associating with the people who were around them when they first started off, I sit there and I think there's something going on there. You know, there's some sort of issue with you as a person that either those people don't want to be associated with you, or you think you're better than those people. It's that's another warning card for me. People who don't have anything to do with the people. Yeah, people drift apart and all the rest of it, but that's a bit of a warning sign for me.
I like that. We're adult children. Nut shots are funny. They are, and they're funny to blokes because blokes know what it's like. You know, blokes know exactly what it's fucking like.
Hey, I got a joke for you about that. You know how women always like to go on about childbirth is way more painful than getting hit in the nuts. Have you ever seen a man who, barring a couple of freaks like, you know, Jackass and stuff like that, but have you ever seen a man who said, yeah, I think I'll go and get hit in the nuts again tomorrow?
Fucking no. Mate,
yeah.
Really like getting
so what's more painful, childbirth or getting hit in the nuts?
Oh, fuck that. Like, honestly. It's and here's a little tank for you. The missus gets shits of me because I'm constantly adjusting or scratching. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing there? I'm like, listen, until you have a set of your own, don't tell me what to do with mine. All right,
bro. Okay, I've got get your bingo cards out. Back when I was in the army, this is a weird one. Because you saying that. Okay, for the Poms in chat, do you guys scratch your nuts a lot, adjust them and all the rest of it? Because I remember we had a Pommy exchange guy. They called it Operation Long Look or Exercise Long Look, where they would get assigned. We would send one guy over to one of their units for 3 months, and we would get one of their guys for 3 months. And the guy come over. One morning he said to us, what the fuck is up with you guys? And we're like, what? And he goes, you wake up in the morning, you roll a cigarette, you light a coffee, and then you all stand there drinking your coffee with your hand in your pocket, scratching your nuts.
Yes.
And he said, nearly every single fucking one of you is just doing it. Like, what's the deal with it? It's like, it's kind of what you do. You wake up and, you have your durry and your coffee and you get your gear in order and make sure the veg is on either side of the meat and all the rest of it, and you just kind of do it.
One has disappeared somewhere it shouldn't.
Yeah. But he was horrified by it. It was like, maybe it's just a British thing. They don't do it because they're more Aussies got extra itchy balls. And hey, when you've been out bush for a week or so, and you don't have showers, things start to get a bit icky downstairs. So you've got to spend a bit more time.
Especially around Queensland when it's sticky and fucking wet. I've got a mate.
North Queensland, mate. Humidity.
North Queensland's even worse.
Yeah.
I've got a mate. We call him Powerball. One ball does it all. So, and he unfortunately back in NZ got into a street fight, and someone kicked his fucking testicle with a steel cap and burst it. So they had to rip it out. So when I come around the corner to see what was going on, he's on his knees, frothing at the mouth, mate. In hospital for 2 weeks, and so he lost one of the boys, and he's now nicknamed Powerball. One ball does it all. He's got 4 kids, so it still fucking works.
I love that Powerball. I had a mate who was called Winchester. He had a double barrel, 2 holes.
2 holes.
Really? Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And he never knew it was weird. He apparently, all little boys like to draw penises. He would always draw his with two holes in the end. And one person said, "Why have you got two holes?" And he goes, "Because it's got two holes." And they're like, "What? You got two holes in your penis?" And that was the first time he found out. His parents never told him, bastards. But yeah, he never knew it was different.
Wow. That's fucking gold, eh? Like,
bro, what a fucking weird conversation this was. We have talked about so much shit, but I love this. This is kind of why I enjoy doing this, because it's just a couple of guys getting together, talking shit about the weirdest, most wonderful things and mental health and just life in general. And this has been a really good conversation.
And I appreciate the time, man. Like, and I appreciate you doing it for people as well. Like, I think you get two holes.
No, he said only one worked.
Only one worked. The double.
Yeah,
that's gold. And I think most people that know me, like, at the end of the day, I'm there if people need to chat. I'm not there to judge, mate. It's not up to me to judge people, right? I'm not the fucking be all end all. I'm not a person who has the right to sit there and say yes or no. I'm just there to give an ear. My channel and the Discord is, an ear to hear. And it's just for people to, and it's not so much the trauma dumping. It's just to be able to feel that they can express it, and
it's one of those things you got to like we've done now. We've talked some serious shit, but we've talked some wacky shit as well. And if you just get focused on that one thing, that one topic, then it's back when I used to see a psychologist. My missus used to pay attention to how I would come back from them. And she would tell me who she thought were the good ones and who were the bad ones. And the best one I ever had was a guy up in Townsville, and he would have me in tears during it. But at the end of it, we would just sit there and talk the shit like you and I are doing now. And she said, I loved it when you went to see him, because the others, they could break you down, but they didn't build you back up afterwards. And you'd walk out of this 60-minute session and you'd come home and you'd be fucking terrible to deal with. And this was back when I was first getting on top of my PTSD, my anxiety, my depression, my anger management issues, and all the rest of it. And she said, for this guy, you come away from him and you could see he'd made a difference. And he tried a number of things, all these weird techniques that apparently work and that, and he wasn't having any success with them. But he could still get me to talk about the shit that I was facing at the time, because I was suicidal at the time back then, as I just didn't know what the fuck was going on. But he was brilliant, mate. Absolutely fucking brilliant.
And it's made you feel safe, eh? You know what I mean? Like, as well, that's a key. Like, it's okay to open that floodgate, right? But it's also, it needs to be able to be channeled the right way and not restricted, but done safely. So you're not there going, oh fuck, I need to do it. You're going, I actually want to fucking do it. Like, I want to do it because this feels right for me. Like, I feel better, and if that's having a good impact on the family life and stuff, then but for fuck's sakes, like, take some time to fucking reward yourself. Like, reward yourself. Like, they say, and the silly know who I'm talking about. Jocko obviously is a big promoter of, like, do something, right? So for us, it was always make your fucking bed in the morning, because if you don't do anything else throughout the day, you've achieved one thing for the day. You've achieved you've achieved pretty much more than 99% of the fucking population to begin with, because most don't make the fucking bed. And it's more the mental thing of getting up, making your bed. You've done something.
And keeping the mind occupied as well.
100%. So you've actually on something. And as stupid as that sounds, once you start doing that every day and start repeating the process, you build and you build and you build and you build. And before you know it, you're doing it just out of, consistency. And, don't be scared to just fucking do it. Just get up and fucking do it.
Next week, I'm going up to Townsville for a military reunion. I wasn't going to go because I find those reunions a bit mentally draining because there's a lot of guys with bad attitudes who are still living back in the day and all the rest of it. But I lost my best mate, Lance Corporal Richard Bernard Rouse, 29 years ago. In about 1996, I'm pretty sure it was. And he died in a rather weird accident in Thailand on rectly from Rifle Company Butterworth, a posting that Australia does in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. I was back in Australia, and we were out bush at the time. And I found out that he died in what's called morning orders. So after you've done morning routine, the platoon commander usually goes off and gets the orders of what you're going to be doing for that day. And they tell you what the plan is for that day. And then at the end of the orders, he goes, oh, and by the way, we received information that Lance Corporal Richard Ralphs has died in Thailand whilst away from Rifle Company Butterworth. This guy was my best mate. We had lived together. We bought a car together. We'd done a lot of things together. No facility, don't go there. We hadn't done that. But yeah, and that's how I was told that my best mate was dead. And my world literally collapsed. And the reason I bring it up is that keeping you busy, because my platoon sergeant at the time was a fucking Chad, an absolute legend. It was the second time I had this same guy as platoon sergeant, and he kept me busy. He kept me busy because if I'd just been left to sit there, I would have been brooding. But he was like, boy, I need this. Boy, I need that. Boy, I need this. And, mate, I worked my fucking ass off that day. I was fucking going everywhere, getting everything, doing everything. And it was just to keep my mind occupied so that I wasn't just sitting there wallowing in my thoughts. And, yeah, I kept them thinking about him, but I couldn't nonstop just think about what had happened. This is I'm not really big on ghosts and all the rest of it. But that night of the morning when I woke up and found out he was dead, I actually had a dream about him. And we were going on a night out in the town. But he was weird. He didn't talk. And we had this kind of crazy routine. Have you ever seen the movie Hercules Returns?
Which one? Like the newer one or the older, like an older one? No,
it's an Aussie comedy movie where they started a movie cinema, and it's a funny movie. Look it up if you want a good laugh. But our routine used to be go and get a 2-litre flask of Nikov, which was this cheap vodka and orange flavored wine, and we would drink that at home while we watched Hercules Returns, because it has so many great one-liners in it. A brilliant movie, absolutely brilliant movie. And we were doing all that routine, and I was happy like we normally got when we were getting drunk, ready to go out in the town and get even drunker. But he was there and he was smiling and things like that, but he just didn't talk. And it was the weirdest dream. And I still remember that dream. And then I wake up that morning and I get told he died. And there's a little part of me that thinks maybe he was going to have just one last night out with his mate.
Say goodbye.
And it was so weird. And then to find out that he died and that it was under rather weird circumstances as well. We're still really not sure what actually happened to him. He was just found lying on the ground, and his spleen had been ruptured. They're finally doing a ceremonial plaque presentation at the brigade chapel, which should have happened 29 years ago. You know Nikov ducks. Yeah, Nikov was poison. It was the worst tasting shit. You had to buy 2 liters of orange juice to mix it with, because it was just literally fucking, if you drank that shit.
We call that a skinhead screwdriver back home in New Zealand. Orange juice and vodka. And you'd see anybody walking down the street drinking that, mate, you're like, oh, fuck, here we go. All right. Here we go. It's going to get on. Something's going to go on.
Well, this was a vodka and orange flavored wine, mate. So that's it wasn't actually vodka and orange. It was vodka and orange flavored wine, and it was like Dux is saying, Nikov was poison. 14% pre-mixed 2-litre cask of vodka. Vodka and wine, and
that's crazy.
It had this weird fucking taste to it, but it wasn't bad. It was the chateau, the classic chateau collapsible. If you are, I don't think cask wine is a big thing overseas. But they're basically these little foil bladders of wine, and they've got a little tap down the bottom, and we would just drink it straight out of it, and sometimes get a glass and mix it up. But it quite often make you vomit because it was just that rancid in your gut.
You used to do the old washing line fucking goon bags. The goon bag
Oh,
washing line.
Goon of Fortune. Goon of Fortune.
Goon fortune.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
You never knew which one you were going to get. But yeah, but no, it's important when you do something like that to when you are down to keep yourself occupied. And an idle mind is a bad thing because it allows you just to go off on crazy tangents and down rabbit holes of your own making and things like that. Whereas if you keep yourself focused, my missus is fantastic at it. She can see when I'm getting into a doldrum, and then she'll go and make me do something. And she'll badger me until I get something done. And something that I put off. I'm notoriously bad at putting things off. What the fuck is a goon bag?
I suppose the other thing is the other way to look at it is that voice in the head. Does it sound like you? Because if it doesn't, why the fuck are you listening to it anyway?
Yep.
So
here we go. I'll share a screen so you can see what they are.
The goon bag, yeah. What a goon bag of destiny. God, some hard times on that shit.
This has got everything in it. So it's got the boxes that they usually come in, and then it's got these weird little bladders in it with a little tap thing on it. There you can see Goon of Fortune. You basically all stand around and you spin it, and whoever gets the bag in front of them. The great thing about them is you take them to a party. They're cheap as chips, really, really fucking cheap. And then if you pass out drunk, you've got a pillow.
You got a pillow. That's it.
You just blow it up again.
Yep.
It goes flat, but it stays up long enough for you to pass out. And if you've drunk one of these, like old mate here, you are shit-faced fucking drunk. You are shit-faced drunk. And you'll be asleep in seconds.
Yep, 2 liters of the hard shit.
It's probably important to explain a goon bag because I know the term goon has taken on other the gooners. So I had to ask my son to explain to me what a gooner was because I was like, the only goon I know is goon. As in alcohol. Yeah,
mate. It's Aussie ingenuity, Aussie ingenuity is fucking beast.
I prefer to call it Chateau Collapsible. It sounds a bit more refined.
It does sound refined, doesn't it? Great bucks, you can't go wrong.
It's just cheap wine, Dorkwing. It's just cheap wine is all it is, mate. Cheap, shitty fucking wine, red wine, white wine. And then your weird fucking flavored ones like Nikov. I don't even know if you can still buy Nikov. But yeah, it was a nasty. Oh, there we go. I found the image for it. For those who are wondering.
Yeah, box of wine. Same thing, Paddy. Exactly the same thing. Box of wine. Yep.
Moselle Fruity Elixir. Yep, Fruity Elixir. That was a good one. But yeah, there's your Nikov.
Party like it's 1998. Never seen it, Never ever seen it.
Oh, mate. If you remember this, this is the reputation of the stuff. Congratulations, you survived. Because it was a nasty fucking drink, mate. It was, but it was, it was kind of, we just did that.
And survive.
Fruit Elixir makes you sexier. Fruit Elixir Nikov makes everyone sexy. It was beyond beer goggles. It was beer blind. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Syna, I think we're coming up to 2.5 hours, mate. I think this has been an amazing conversation. I love getting people on, and if I've got a few people lined up already, but I don't just want to be speaking to content creators. Even if you don't create content, but if you, the one common thing here is that we're all weirdo, geek, nerdy gamers who are, finding ourselves uniting with other people with similar interests in that. And if you've got an interesting story, reach out to me because I want to sit down and have a chat with you.
I want to hear you. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's community. So be part of it.
The next week I'll release this one in the edited form, which is basically just, I polish up the intro, outro and all the rest of it. and I do that live, and then I interview the next guest straight after, because it's I'm really enjoying doing these. I love sitting back and watching the premiere of the edited one live with the audience before the other one. But yeah, Elisar's one that I want to get. Elisar the Grey. He's got a fascinating story, the little bit I've got to find about it. And there's another guy. This is proof of the relationships we make with people online. Obviously, be a bit careful. But I got to meet Elisar through King Alex, and I quickly realized that he's a good guy. And I was shopping for a special present for my wife, and that is a Peonia Blush Wedgwood glass teapot. A specific,
wrong straight away. Yeah.
Yep, a specific item, and the only place I could find it was in the Hong Kong Wedgwood store. And I was like, finally, I found it. I go to shipping, and they wouldn't ship to Australia. And then I met Elisar, and Elisar lives in Thailand, and they ship to Thailand. So I paid for this several $100 teapot and had it shipped to him, and he on-shipped it to me. And this is a guy I've never met in person, but I've only met through the interwebs. But these are the sort of friendships you can forge with people.
It restores the faith in humanity, mate. Like really, you know.
I love what Dorqueen just wrote. Using your boots as a pillow is so Australian. I wouldn't be surprised if you had vodka waterbeds too.
Oh, fuck. Mate, it's just it's about making it easy, you know. Like you don't want to have to travel far to get your piss. Put it that way.
Yeah. No, you just sleep on the couch or out in the backyard and cuddle up to the person's dog or whatever like that, so you're not too cold. And yeah. But no,
pile of fucking fire ants in your pants, you'll be right.
Mate, I've got them in my fucking yard at the moment. I keep poisoning them, and I set them on fire the other day. See if that works better than the poison. But yeah,
see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. Eh? Like honestly, I appreciate it, and appreciate everybody for jumping in chat as well. And you're all a bunch of fucking legends.
And guys, check him out. I'll post his channel again here. He streams on Twitch quite regularly, and he's just a good value audience, a good value show. Gets in there. He loves his game. He loves his DayZ. He has fun. He's usually always playing with someone, and just it's good vibes. It's good vibes.
You know, you're all a bunch of cunts, but we enjoy it. It's good. Good fun.
Yep, you're good cunts. Everyone in here is a good cunt.
Yeah.
Except Facility. He's a dog cunt.
Cheers, Facility. Hope you're well anyway.
Sin, thank you so much. Everyone, let me just quickly check. My next guest is going to be, just checking the guest schedule, Mr. Mitch Rapp. So he's another veteran. I'll be getting in contact with him. After that, I've got Mark scheduled. After that, the Friendly Boys, Diesel, Elisar the Grey, and a lad by the name of Not Fratton is the ones I've got lined up at this stage. There may be others, but yeah, I forget shit. So if I have spoken to you about it and I've forgotten to read your name out, reach out to me. I'm not being an ignorant cunt. I'm just fucking dumb. But yeah. Also, I should have done it at the beginning, but please check out Lid Hosting if you're looking for a server in the EU region. Drower, for a French guy, he's pretty fucking awesome. He runs a pretty tight ship there with his servers. We've now got in the Creator Club that we spoke about earlier, we have a creator server, which we've set up, which doesn't work too well for us down under because the ping is like fucking 380. But for anyone who's in the EU, if you need to record footage for a video or anything like that, that server is there. And the lovely Orcs, who's also in the chat, Orc7, is helping run it. We could load up a map or any mods or anything like that for you, and you could use that server as you wish. We'll give you admin powers with the V++ admin tools. And we've got the simple cinematics and survivor animations. Great mod by Hunter Z, that survivor animations one, I believe. But yeah, it's awesome. Absolutely love it. I do want to share one last thing with you guys. I've been having a lot of fun with this.
I know what it is.
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, look at that.
How cute is that? That's my dog, Maximus. My son got that photo. He was laying on the ground and he took a photo of him. And then we turned it into a Studio Ghibli, and it's even cuter. I honestly reckon there's a meme there or something, but that is just a happy dog, isn't it?
Make it an emote, mate. Have it on your channel.
I'm planning on that. I'm planning on that on my Boydie 73 channel. But it's awesome. I love him. He's an amazing dog. The missus says he's just like me, dumb and he snores. But yeah, he's also dead sexy. Good ones. Yeah,
and furry.
She's not trading me in. She said she spent 20+ years working on me already. She can't spend that much time on someone else again. Maximum adorable. Yeah. But no, Syn, all the best, mate. I wish you all the best with your Steady the Nerve campaign. And ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week, same time, or not the same time, but same channel, and the same night or day, depending on where you are, for an interview with Mr. Mitch Rapp. All the best, everyone, and ciao for now.